Good morning. Now 5 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And the first thing we've got to let you know about this morning is a closure on 24. We've got the eastbound lanes of 24 closed in Laverne between Old Hickory Boulevard South and Waldron. That's exit 62 and 64. There's a crash there. Tons of vehicles, tons of emergency vehicles on the scene, and it is closed. Again, 24. Eastbound side between Old Hickory Boulevard and Waldron Road. In the forecast this morning, a day much like yesterday.
Up in the 60s this morning, and then we're getting back into the mid and the upper 80s with pretty good sunshine as we head through our day today.
WSMV4 Stefano DiPietro. By the way, he says these unusually high fall temperatures are here to stay for a while. In the news, well, here we are 5 hours into a partial government shutdown after lawmakers in Congress failed to pass a short-term funding bill. ABC's Lionel Moyes.
Senate Majority Leader John Thune is working to get Democrats to cross party lines to keep the government funded for 7 more weeks.
There are some conversations. There are Democrats who are very unhappy with the situation that they're in.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer standing firm with the Democrats.
Our guarantee is to the American people that we're going to fight as hard as we can for their health care.
Demanding cuts to Medicaid be restored and demanding Obamacare tax credits be extended to prevent millions of Americans' insurance premiums from going up.
Now, as for today, the Republican bill that would give Congress until November 21st to set funding priorities, that'll be voted on again, and more votes to come through the rest of the week as well, and into the weekend if necessary, until either a deal is struck or Democrats give in. Also, some federal workers could lose their jobs permanently with this shutdown. Office of Management and Budget Director Russ Vought issuing guidance earlier this month warning offices to consider plans for mass layoffs in the event of a shutdown. And President Trump saying it was included in that memo. The government, he said, can choose to cut vast numbers of federal employees by cutting programs entirely. We have some new information about that man who attacked a Mormon church during Sunday service in Michigan. ABC's Alex Perez.
According to 2 of his lifelong friends, this animosity towards the Mormon community began when he lived in Utah in the early 2000s. Caroline Levitt, the White House spokesperson on Fox and Friends, said that in her communications with the FBI and their research, they've determined that he had a long-standing hatred for the Mormon community.
4 people were killed, 8 were wounded. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
Stocks were lower for much of the day as the chances for a federal government shutdown increased by the hour, but the Dow turned higher in the last hour, ending up 81 points. The S&P adding 27 and the Nasdaq gaining 69 points. Oil-related companies also pulled their markets down after the price of crude fell on worries about too much production. Halliburton fell 3%. Spotify sank after the streaming giant announced that its founder would be stepping down as CEO to become executive chair.
Michelle Franzen there from ABC News. The shutdown not good for futures. The Dow futures down 219 points. That's the latest news. Traffic is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Why am I so happy and so excited that Jimmy Kimmel lied to his audience?
He had some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points.
I'm excited because the liberal and the legacy media have been lying about Republicans for years, and people like this are finally taking notice.
I didn't think much of the death because from what I had heard, Charlie Kirk had been a neo-Nazi who wanted me to be dead. He didn't support my existence and whatnot. And now I'm kind of sitting here thinking, and I'm like, I feel like I had been lied to. I really took some time
So it's still closed
after
on eastbound 24 this morning. Got to watch it there in Laverne. It's closed off Old Hickory Boulevard South to Waldron Road. There's a crash there. It's in the middle of the roadway, and it's still closed while they're investigating and cleaning it up. There were so many emergency vehicles on the scene. The lights just blinded you. So careful in that area this morning. At the airport, Bradley Parkway southbound, a crash in the left lane on I-40. I'd make that on Bradley Parkway just before I-40. That's where the crash is. And Goodlettsville, Long Hollow Pike. There's a crash at Cartwright Street. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.507 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, whatever we are. Good morning, Joan.
Where are we?
Good morning. You know what? I'm not sure.
Okay.
Do you know why?
Not even 30 seconds into it.
Do you know why I'm not sure? Because you know what happened? I don't know if you guys were awake at 11 o'clock our time, 12 o'clock Eastern time.
No.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
Is that the wheels of the federal government?
That's the wheels of the federal government shutting down.
Yeah.
Kind of like my brain that shanked the call letters not 30 seconds into their radio broadcast. The government is now shut down. Mm-hmm. Cue the panic.
And breaking tonight, the clock says just after midnight, the shutdown has begun.
So the moon is still out. The stars are still out. Heads are exploding, of course, in Washington, D.C. The Democrats, anyway, they are heads are exploding there in Washington, D.C. So we've been through this before. We've been through this many times. That was Fox News last night, of course. I love CNN. Breaking news. Donald Trump. A lot of good can come from shutdowns. One of the things that I'm noticing, just real quick, one of the things that I'm noticing is that you look at the polling out there, and the Democrats really are going to feel the brunt of this shutdown. I mean, because you look at the polling, and a lot of the polling does show that the American people do blame Chuck Schumer for the Schumer shutdown.
Don't they get blame on either side? I mean, if it shut down, of course, they're going to get the blame. They had no leverage this time around. But also from their base, they had to shut down. They had to take a stand and, battle against the orange man and everything he stands for.
Joan, they're battling fascism.
Yes.
That's what they're doing.
Right, I forgot.
They had to battle Donald Trump and the Republicans because this government shutdown, Joan, it's a battle against Adolf Hitler himself.
And they've come out and made the argument that these Medicaid and Medicare cuts that could happen as a result of this are going to affect you, the common citizen. But the reason that we didn't agree to the continuing resolution that would have funded that is because we also want to fund illegal immigrant health care.
Well, that's exact. I've got some great audio from Maxine Waters that I'm going to play in a second.
Said the quiet part out loud, didn't she?
Oh, my goodness gracious. But this is how Speaker Mike Johnson
perhaps didn't with the American people.
Well, because the American people are smart. They could see what's happened. The House Republicans did our job. The Senate Republicans are trying to. We passed the clean resolution, a simple, clean resolution. Why? It's very important. We're trying to get Congress to work again, the regular appropriations process. We're supposed to do 12 separate bills that are carefully debated.
Those days.
Remember? Mm-hmm. We haven't done it in a long time, but we're forcing the muscle memory back. The problem is we ran out of clock because it takes time to do that. End of the fiscal year is tonight at midnight. So we just did a simple, clean resolution, give us till November 21 to finish the process. Chuck Schumer is stopping it for raw political purposes. People see through that. And imagine what it is he's arguing. He wants to give free health care to illegal aliens.
Now, remember yesterday we played the audio of that woman who was really, really angry. because she couldn't afford health care. And again, like I said yesterday, I could play audio from Donald Trump. I could play from J.D. Vance, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries. But the reality is that this really does impact the American people, like those that cannot afford health insurance. And then you hear all of these stories about how illegal aliens are getting health care. And really, it angers people to the point where frankly, they're okay with a government shutdown. How many times, Joan, you think I ought to play that?
I think you played it out enough.
Just go ahead and keep it going?
I think
you know
we're
what
good.
I do? I can keep this going like all morning long.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can leave it for Chris, and I can leave it for Chad.
Well, by that time, we won't have any audience. So
I was about to say. I've got something else that sounds like gears winding and buzzing.
What do you got?
Oh, just something from the former wannabe first woman president.
Okay.
Attorney's fees in malpractice cases. And then finally, as to illegal aliens, we agree with you that we do not think the comprehensive health care benefits should be extended to those who are undocumented workers and illegal aliens. We do not want to do anything to encourage more illegal immigration into this country.
And what year was that?
Wow, that
had
was
to be
old.
back in the 90s,
93.
2000s, 93. Okay. It is crazy how the Democrat Party has changed. You know, it was just. I heard the Red Eye guys play it. I didn't have a chance to grab it this morning. But remember, and maybe you can find it real quick, Sam, as I play this Maxine Waters audio. But remember the Democrat primary for president when the question was, does your platform include benefits, medical benefits for illegal aliens? And every single one of those Democrats raised their hand. So what I don't really understand is why it is that the Democrats are trying to hide from this platform policy of theirs. This was Maxine Waters yesterday.
Democrats want to prioritize the health care of illegal aliens over a government shutdown because if the government does shut down...
Do you know what's so funny?
She looks like a mummy.
Okay. So this is what I'm going to say. If you're watching on Super Talk TV, I've actually posted this on my Facebook page. I walked out of the house today, and Amy had set up all of our Halloween decorations.
Oh, no.
Nothing was as scary as the look of Maxine Waters right now. She does. She looks like a mummy. I wish everybody was. I mean, listen. I love you folks just listening on the radio, but if you're watching on YouTube, you can see that she's got. She's got. You know how people say it's 5:50 and I can do this. You know how people talk about resting bee face?
Oh yeah.
Maxine Waters
RBF.
has resting Maxine Waters face.
she has that along with her wig was just a little askew. So it was that much more
Is
scary.
that a wig that she wears?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Yes.
Okay.
I can assure you it is.
If you put it on the end of a stick and wet it, you could clean a floor with it.
I wasn't going to go there.
You
but-
know, Sam went ahead and he just launched right into it. All right, very good. Anyway, so this is Maxine Waters, again, denying that the Democrats want these health benefits for illegal aliens.
Do Democrats want to prioritize the health care of illegal aliens over a government shutdown? Because if the government does shut down, American
Excuse
employees are going to
me,
be furloughed.
stop it right there. We're not prioritizing. What we're doing is saying simply we want to keep the government open.
No, literally, that's what you're fighting for, Maxine Waters. You are fighting for illegal aliens to have medical benefits.
And we want to work with the Republicans and have a bipartisan agreement to keep this government open, and health care is at the top of our agenda.
So she's going to continue.
A lot of you.
Real quick, Joan, do we have anything going on in traffic?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, sir, we do.
Okay.
24 eastbound closed off in Laverne. No traffic on 24 eastbound Old Hickory Boulevard South through Waldron Road. You're going to have to use Highway 41 this morning, at least in the short term, while they're trying to clean up this accident. Closed off on eastbound 24 this morning.
All right. So a lot of car crashes out on the roadways. A lot of train wrecks in Washington, D.C., including Maxine Waters.
Are Democrats demanding health care for illegal aliens?
Democrats are demanding health care for everybody.
So
she sounds like a mummy too.
She does. She does. But she won't admit it. So when you say, Maxine Waters, when you say that you are demanding health care for everybody, you're talking about illegal aliens. And here's what I don't understand. This is their platform. Kamala, do you remember during the debate, during the presidential primary? Do you have the debate audio from 2020? Yeah. All right, play it for me real quick. This is Kamala Harris. This is Joe Biden. This is all these people that are running for president when the debate's going on, and they were asked about whether or not their platform includes benefits for illegal aliens.
A lot of you have been talking tonight about these government health care plans that you've proposed in one form or another. This is a show of hands question, and hold them up for a moment so people can see. Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
Raise your hand. Everybody's raising their hand. All right. So you had all the Democrats up there, and they all raised their hands. Then, of course, you had the audience applaud. And then during the race for the White House, when Kamala Harris was the candidate, there was all that audio that I played for you. I don't want to rehash that whole thing, but there was audio bite after audio bite after audio bite of her advocating for health care for illegal aliens. Taxpayer funded. So I don't know why it is that the mummy known as Maxine Waters is trying to deny what it is. Look at her. Hey, look at, I hate to do this because it's such a TV thing. Look at her nails.
Ugh.
I mean, she got like really long fingers. She is like a walking corpse.
So we want to save lives. We want to make sure that health care is available to those who would die, but having the help of their government.
So you're good with a government shutdown, even if it means giving health care to people who aren't American citizens?
Well, that's what you're pushing on. What you're trying to do is you're standing here and you're trying to make me say that somehow we're going to put non-citizens over Americans. Quit it. Stop it.
Quit it. Stop it, she says. That's what you're doing, though, Maxine Waters. That is what you're doing.
This is the kind of journalism we don't need.
No, I'm just
you're
asking.
Divisive. No, you're not.
Yeah, no,
you're being divisive. No, please. You don't need to ask that question. You're just trying to get controversy here. You're not going to get it from me. We want to save health care for all people. Thank you.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Appreciate it.
Yeah, okay.
So she also says the quiet part out loud that they admit they do not want objective, truth-telling journalism.
Well, you know, Nancy,
they want to just tell their side and get people to buy into it.
Nancy Pelosi does the same thing. You ever see Nancy Pelosi when she's on MSNBC or CNN?
Oh, asking somebody, about her net worth?
Yeah, when a rare moment of journalism actually breaks out on MSNBC or CNN, and Nancy Pelosi will be like, oh, you don't need to ask that question. These are not the drones you're looking for, right? I mean, that's what she tries to do. That's what Nancy Pelosi tries to do. Now, you said this somebody, because I was talking about how Maxine Waters, do you know what somebody's got to do? Does anybody know anybody who does big Halloween inflatables? Can you imagine a Halloween inflatable of Maxine Waters?
I'll do you one better.
Oh, my Lord. Somebody please do that.
So shout out to Scott in the YouTube chat for this comparison. I haven't heard this particular term before.
Mm-hmm.
She could make a freight train take a dirt road.
She could make a freight train take a dirt road.
Meaning if she was on the tracks and the light shined upon her,
oh, got it.
Engineer's going to take that thing off the tracks.
Yeah, you know what, Joan, we may be onto something. Do you know anybody? Does anybody know? You know a lot of people, Sam, because you're like all over the place. Do you know anybody who does inflatables? I want somebody to do a Maxine Waters Halloween inflatable for my front yard.
I'll do you one better. You know those giant skeletons you can get at Home Depot?
Sure.
That are like 12 feet tall?
Mm-hmm.
Let's get a remake of that, put it over the doorway. You won't have trick-or-treaters all night.
No, I know, right? You just scare. That's like, okay, that's going a little too far. That is way too scary for kids under the age of 10.
Mommy, what's that?
It's the ghoul in Washington, D.C.
Oh.
All right, so we got a government shutdown.
There it is.
All right. It is at 5:21, Nashville's Morning News, and Joan has the news coming up at 5:30. Joan.
Yeah, so we'll take a look at that government shutdown that began about 5.5 hours ago, nearly. Also, we'll take a look in Memphis. And, it was the first day of arrests in that city on the Memphis Safe Streets program. We'll tell you what happened there and what's going to happen today. There's going to be some people visiting the city.
Now, Joan, did you want to borrow my sound effect
No,
for your newscast?
I think I'm good.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because I've got some others that are really good, Dan.
Okay, well, not as good as mine.
Okay.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
So during
Whatever.
the break, I can break some fingers.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, I got to go. 5:22 on WTN. Hey, Joan and Sam.
Yes.
So you know how Donald Trump is always talking about how I could cure cancer and the Democrats would have a problem with it?
Yeah.
He's actually trying to do that now. So I don't know if you saw the news. This is not a huge news story, and it should be. But in the news, Donald Trump has now signed an executive order to harness AI in fight against childhood cancers. How long before the Democrats call that racist?
Whenever their big pharma sponsors tell them to.
President Donald Trump signed an executive order Tuesday aimed at improving ways to identify and treat pediatric cancers using artificial intelligence. And I don't know if you saw this, guys. And just so you folks know, I have, and you folks that have listened to the show for a long time know that I have a son who had a pediatric cancer many, many years ago. He's fine now. But I've been in those waiting rooms at Sloan Kettering where you've got weeping parents and, children who have lost their hair because of chemotherapy. So for me, I mean, this actually really, really hits home. I love that the president is doing this. By the way, didn't Obama task Joe Biden with us, curing cancer?
Yeah.
I don't think Joe remembered he was supposed to do that.
Well, he was too busy. You know how he did this. He was too busy turning the entire story into a story about him and his son who had cancer and died of cancer. But instead of turning it out to help other people, Joe Biden made it all about him, like he always did.
The same son that somehow also died in combat.
Right, exactly.
Right. That is where, and we fact check Joe Biden a lot. Whenever he would bring it up, my son died in combat. No, your son didn't die in combat. I don't want to get into the whole thing, but his son died of cancers where he was in service and he was around. They were burning a whole bunch of stuff, and I forget exactly what it was. The burn pits in Afghanistan or Iraq, if I'm not mistaken. And so then his son came home and he had the cancer and so forth. So no, his son did not die in combat. Anyway. The executive order that Donald Trump signed yesterday instructs the Make America Healthy Again Commission to work with the White House's Office of Science and Technology Policy to employ AI on how to use it to diagnose and treat childhood cancers and identify new cures. They are doing incredible things with AI as far as finding cures for, I don't think they're there yet, but they're getting really close to utilizing artificial intelligence to find cures for all kinds of stuff. And I love what President Trump did yesterday. He is surrounded. The president is surrounded by a whole bunch of kids in the Oval Office. I don't have time to play the audio now, but he's got a whole bunch of kids in there that either have cancer, had cancer, they're in remission, and so forth. And I love this. The president joined in the Oval Office by, let's see here, Robert F. Kennedy, of course, Department of Health and Human Services, RFK Jr. He is spearheading all of this. The Medicaid Services Administrator, Dr. Oz, as well, and others. And so I love this. So now, as the president is doing whatever he can to solve childhood cancer using AI, there's a great meme. You ready? Trump cures cancer. And now you have all of these idiot Democrats on the bottom, truth and memes. Curing cancer is racist. We have the right to die from our cancer. Of course, Democrats with their moronic signs. It is 5:30 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It's 5:30 now, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And check of the roads once again. Yes, 24 eastbound is still closed. Old Hickory Boulevard south through Waldron Road. That's because of an investigation, a crash there just past the OHB exit. A tractor trailer versus a pickup. So that's going to be there for quite a while this morning. In the news, our weather is a carbon copy of yesterday's. Full-on sunshine, temps near 90. You may run into some patchy fog this morning, too. In the news, we're in the midst of a partial government shutdown, and which began at midnight after a vote on the Senate floor. It saw 3 Democrats cross the aisle and join Republicans to vote yes on a clean short-term funding bill. ABC's Rick Klein on why the remaining Democrats are holding out.
The Democrats recognize that for the sake of their own political survival, they cannot be seen as simply caving to Donald Trump. Donald Trump has had a historically successful, by any objective measure, enactment of his agenda over the last 8 months or so. But that has also fueled some of the backlash. And Democrats now face pressures from their own base that are unlike anything we've ever seen.
Also, Republicans aren't making it easy on Democrats. House Speaker Mike Johnson warning Republicans to remain unified and on message in a call on Monday. He also urged House Republicans to avoid political events like fundraisers and to stay outside of D.C. until the House is due to return next week. To Memphis we go, where several federal agencies are already at work on the so-called Memphis Safe Task Force. 9 arrests made yesterday, among them 2 men now facing felony drug and weapons charges. They were pulled over by Homeland Security agents for running a red light. The city's police chief, C.J. Davis, on what officers need the most help with.
With thousands of outstanding warrants, we want these federal resources to help us to accelerate that work. And we're talking about people who have committed homicides in our city and other violent crimes. That's what our focus is on.
Attorney General Pam Bondi and War Secretary Pete Hegseth, they'll arrive in Memphis today to meet with law enforcement. That is the latest news. Traffic is up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 5:32. It is spooky season, but don't be tricked. Let the home experts at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling treat your family right. Now, we're not going to ghost you. Join the Beehive Club for free. Just carve a pumpkin of Buzz the Bee, post it on social media, and of course, tag Busy Bee, and that's all you've got to do. Show off your carving skills and get rewarded. If you need HVAC service, by the way, you can upgrade your thermostat and get a free dryer vent cleaning. Choose from our Honeywell Basic or Go Pro with Wi-Fi control. Plumbing problems will flush your water heater free with any plumbing repair. That's a treat for your pipes, of course. Now it's time for a new HVAC system. If that's what you're going through, we've got a scary good deal for you from Busy Bee. A free 10-year parts and 5-year labor warranty. That is a $750 value, complete with any system install. Don't let your home be haunted. Call Busy Bee today, where service is sweet and the savings are scary good. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833. Find them online anytime. It's BusyBeeHVAC.com.
Still closed down on eastbound 24 this morning, Old Hickory Boulevard south to Waldron Road. It's an accident in the midst there. It's a tractor trailer and a pickup truck involved in an accident. So traffic has stopped again on 24 eastbound Old Hickory Boulevard south to Waldron Road. Goodlettsville, they're still working that crash scene at Long Hollow Pike and Cartwright Street. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.537, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning, dear friends. Hope you are doing well. Welcome on into October. So I went ahead and posted my wife's Halloween decorations on my Facebook page. So if you want to see what what we do in Amanda's house every year, we got a big new inflatable this year. Now, I was mercilessly...
Oh, you're an inflatable family?
Oh, here we go. Are you one of those, tea and crumpet eaters and drinkers who, looks down on inflatables?
Well,
are you one of those people, Joan?
First of all, we do fall. We don't do Halloween. And no, I don't do inflatables.
You don't? Are you okay? So you don't do Halloween because just go ahead and tell me why.
It's
It's non-Christian.
It's not Christian.
Okay.
Yeah. I just go for the fall, like the hay bales and pretty things like that.
So when your kids were growing up, did you not let them go Halloween?
Yeah, we did. We did.
Oh, okay. So I'm a little confused then at the Christian hypocrisy, Joan. I'm kidding. I'm not fighting with Joan.
Thought.
Okay, very good. It's an evolution of thought.
Yeah.
I was raised in a household where we didn't do Halloween.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, now I
That
love
explains
it.
a lot.
Now I watch scary movies nonstop. There's a thing in my house that we do now called
It's a portal.
We call it Spooktober.
Spooktober.
And so what we'll do starting tonight is we're going to watch something scary every single night. So by the time we get to Halloween, we are on edge everywhere we go.
Okay. So you watch all the scary movies beginning that's what Amy likes to do. Mm-hmm. Now I'm not a scary movie guy, just so we're clear. But she loves her scary movies, and so she drags me along kicking and screaming. And I have to sit through them, whether it's the Conjuring movies, which are very good, all of the stupid Friday the 13th movies.
Which are not very good.
Halloween, those movies. You know what's so dumb about the Halloween movies? That's when, is it Jamie Lee Curtis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you're sitting there and the guy in the mat, is it Michael Myers? Is that Halloween? So Michael Myers is 15 feet from you laying down because you supposedly just took him out and you sit down on the floor or whatever it is and you're just sitting there crying as opposed to running away. And of course, Michael Myers gets up and comes straight forward. It's like, no, you keep running, you nitwit. This is they're so predictably stupid.
Well, see, I prefer, have you seen the Final Destination series?
No.
Oh,
but I'm not a big...
More psychological.
So I don't like the gore.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's just unnecessary.
I don't like the gore. I do actually kind of sort of enjoy the psychological, like the Conjuring movies.
Psychological thrillers they're a different category.
What do you call them?
Psychological thrillers, the
there's
gore
overlap.
and the spirits and all. No.
Right.
But psychological stuff, yeah, I'm into that.
Okay, do you like the Conjuring movies?
You know what? I have to say I've never seen them.
Oh, you got to see those. Those are so good.
If there's one I could throw out there that people need to watch on a spiritual, especially, and this is Joan, this is something for you and John to watch. Nefarious.
Okay.
Great movie.
I've seen it.
I've
Wonderful.
heard of that. Yeah.
It's more faith-based and it's a thriller, it's psychological, but it's also spiritual.
Okay.
There was one time, so Amy and I it's like Saturday night, whatever it is. And she forces me to watch this movie. Now you got to set this up. She's got a brand new bedspread, right? We got a TV in the bedroom. So we're sitting in bed watching a scary movie. I was watching this under protest.
I thought you were about to say under the covers.
That too. And so there is a jump scare. And I spilled coffee all over her brand new bedspread.
Oh, man. You're in trouble.
Well, this was a couple of years ago. I think the stain is still there.
Oof. I have another recommendation.
Yeah.
The Terrifier.
Never saw that.
You need to see it. I think Amy would love it.
Okay.
It's about a clown.
A clown.
It's
Okay.
like, in my mind, if we're talking, clown scaries, it's better than It by leaps and miles. It's
So, Joan, do you just think you're too good for inflatables? Is that what it is?
No, I just don't enjoy. Like, I don't. There's nothing about inflatables that, like, you didn't work to make that something.
Ooh, that's a good point.
That
Have you ever tried to blow up an inflatable?
Huh?
Have you ever tried to blow up an inflatable?
No, actually, I haven't.
Neither have I. But we have a little pump thing. But I
There you
mean,
go.
but they're fun to set up. We have a whole thing in the. Go to my Facebook page and look at it. It's not even done yet.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just the stairs. Because I saw it and I was like, Dan, did you get up early to do this?
No, Amy. I woke up and Amy had done it while I was asleep. So do you know we had a little kerfuffle in the house again.
Uh-oh.
It's been a bad week for us.
Are you using her body wash again?
No, I'm not. That's right. We talked about that. I'm like, did I talk about that on the air? Yes, of course I did. So we have. Do you remember, Joan? I think this was before your time, Sam. But we have this just constant preponderance of pest control people that come to the door. Right?
Oh, yes, you have talked about this. Yeah.
And the high-fiving pest control guy.
Yeah,
and then there's
yeah.
the other one that got in a fight with my neighbor.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
I don't know what it is about pest control people, but stop it. So we had a guy come to the door on, I think it was Sunday night. And my doorbell rings. Now, I'm trying to sleep. Doorbell rings. Dog starts barking, of course, because he's an idiot. And so we have all this chaos in the house, and nobody's home because Amy's off doing whatever she was doing. Guy left. I didn't go and answer the door. But I was really annoyed. And I called Amy in my ZQL stupor. And I said, do you still have that no soliciting sign out? I kid you not. She said no, because it doesn't go with our holiday decor, our fall decor. And I I was a little frustrated because I'm like, okay, so I want to make sure you're saying that you took away our no soliciting sign, which I specifically asked to be put out because we keep getting these jackays at our door trying to sell me, pest control.
Yeah.
And she took it down because it doesn't match our fall decor. And I'm like, does my sleep mean nothing to you? And so I immediately have found, I don't know if she's ordered it yet, but I have immediately started sending her links to fall decor no soliciting signs. We now need one for every flippin' season because here's what's funny. About 3 weeks ago, guy comes to the door. He is in a pest control outfit. Woke me up from my nap. It's like I'm always sleeping. I go downstairs because I hear Amy talking, and I am loaded for bear. I am like, because I hear them talking about pest control stuff, right? I come out to the door where Amy is talking to a guy in a pest control outfit, and I let him have it. Here's the problem. This was actually our pest control
Your
guy.
actual pest control guy?
Our actual pest control guy. I felt so bad. I felt like a complete a-hole.
Did Amy just let you go and continue to?
No, you know what?
Be the a-hole?
Thankfully, she was like, no, because she knew. She knew this is a thing with me because it's been happening for like years now. And she's like, hold me. No, this is our actual guy. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Because my and I don't even know their name, but my current pest control company is really, really good because they took care of our wasp problem.
Oh, right.
But it's like, and people who have to deal with this, they'll say, whether it's pest control, whether it's window people, they've all got the same shtick, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I spoke to, Joe and John and Jay and Martha, and they've all bought windows. They've all bought our pest control contracts. And it's like, well, that's not John that lives, that's Mike, and that's not Martha, that's Sheila. You know what I mean? So you catch him lying, and it annoys the living. Why am I talking about this again? I didn't know where I was going, but
This was the stay off my lawn sign.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we now have a fall and a Christmas and a spring and a winter and whatever, all kinds of no soliciting signs coming to the Mandis household because I can't take it anymore. So there. So anyway, so you're looking down on my inflatables, John?
I'm not looking
really?
down on
Because the way Sam, back me up. She sounded like, oh, you do inflatables? And I heard the voice tilt on inflatables.
Is it like Mickey Mouse inflatables or
Go to my Facebook page, Joan, at Dan Mandis Show. Go to my Facebook page.
He doesn't have to justify his inflatables
I don't
to
have
you.
to justify my inflatables to you.
But you know what?
so, yeah.
Chuck Schumer should justify what he said in 1996.
All right, let's hear it. What did Chuck Schumer say back in 1996? As he tries to get the audio
This is an
ready.
anti-fraud amendment. Over where we go, people say, well, why can't you stop illegal immigrants or others from coming here? And the number one answer we give our constituents is when they come here, they can get jobs, get benefits against the law because of fraud. And here, the gentleman from Florida has put together the most effective anti-fraud measure we can find without it changing the actions of the government one bit.
Mm-hmm.
And we find all this opposition. Ladies and gentlemen of this chamber, what I worry about is that this bill, which started out with good intentions, whether you agree with it or disagree with it, is going to end up being the same kind of thing that the public gets angry with us on. We say we're doing something, and we do nothing. Because every time someone makes a rational and small proposal to get something done, people say, well, what about this hypothetical, that hypothetical, etc. I urge support of this amendment. If you believe you want to stop fraud in immigration, you have no choice but to support this amendment.
That's in 1996?
Yeah. Haunting piece of audio, Chuck.
By the way, did you see what Trump did? Go if you're
Hold on,
watching
yeah.
right now on Super Talk TV. So you got up Chuck Schumer and you got Hakeem Jeffries.
We're calling him Hakeem Jeffrey now.
Hakeem Jeffrey, that's good. And Trump has Trump 2028 hats right there on the Oval Office
And
desk.
he's pointing at him. Oh, my goodness. He has been doing the mega troll.
He offered them.
Yeah.
He offered them the hats, and of course they politely declined. So I
think Hakeem Jefe there would rather have a sombrero.
So it's really funny because yesterday we played you the audio of and showed you on the Super Talk TV. We showed you how President Trump had tweeted out a video of Hakeem Jeffries, and he had a Mexican style mustache and a sombrero on, and I was surprised that this was like a lead story on CNN and MSNBC, but it was. I mean, they were like, "Oh my goodness, it's such a racist." And they had mariachis and the whole thing. So now you've got Hakeem Jeffries being interviewed on MSNBC talking about how the president had made this racist post, and Trump did it again.
It's a disgusting video, and we're going to continue to make clear bigotry will get you nowhere. We are fighting to protect the health care of the American people in the face of an unprecedented Republican assault.
So you have mariachi music playing, and Donald Trump is every member of the mariachi band. And the sombrero comes back, the mustache comes back, and it is really funny. This is what I love about Donald Trump.
Yeah. The trolling has been like off the charts.
Yep. It's the kind of bullying that needs to come back. You know, people have said that during this term, you know, with all the weird stuff that Dems want to do, that we need to make bullying great again. That's how you do it. Because he's speaking in platitudes.
Oh, yeah.
And then just getting absolutely clowned.
It is so funny. And by the way, here's the thing, is that when you call our side Hitler and Nazis and all that other stuff, then I mean, this...
To make clear, bigotry will get you nowhere. We are fighting to protect...
It's child's play. It's child's play.
People in the face of an
Joan, did you look at my inflatables? Joan?
She's looking now.
Oh, she's looking now.
Oh,
Did you look at my inflatables?
I did. I did look at the inflatables.
All right, so
okay, so this is more tasteful than a lot of people do, right?
Okay.
So I do enjoy the skeleton partially underneath like that's
sure.
okay. I like the pumpkins.
Yes. See, it's tastefully. That's my wife. Everything is tasteful except for her husband.
Well, yeah. So
Notice how she agrees.
I don't really disagree with this. It's not as terrible as it could be, and I just
Do you give out candy? Do you give out candy, Joan?
Yeah, we give out candy, but we don't have anybody in our neighborhood.
So, all right.
We're a little bit rural.
Okay.
Yep. It's the same out my way. I buy a bunch of candy just in case.
Right. Yeah.
And then I eat it all.
Absolutely. Real quickly, because I sense that my enthusiasm for working with Joan Jones is shutting down.
I just would direct you to the super text line.
I don't want to. What? I don't. You know what, Joan? My enthusiasm for the super text line is shutting down.
I can tell.
Just like the government.
Do that one more time. And
Yeah.
Right to jail.
All right, real quick, because this is just so dumb. Joan, favorite Halloween candy?
Oh, Reese's peanut butter cups,
All right.
hands down.
All right.
Same. Yeah.
Okay,
it's
so
the
me
greatest
too.
candy ever made.
Except for I'm a big candy corn fan. You guys candy corn?
What?
Mm-hmm, yep.
Candy corn is good.
That's like eating drywall.
Candy corn and God, both
That's
good.
so good.
God's good. Candy
You
corn's
have to
awful.
get the top off first, and then the next color, and then you eat the rest of it.
See, Joan does it right.
Yeah.
Enjoy
There you
your
go.
asbestos flavored candy.
Oh, you know what? Sam, my enthusiasm for you, shutting down.
Sam, you tie
Right
him
to
up,
jail.
and I
Right
will
away.
find that thing and get rid of it.
All right, is 5:54 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk. Joan was coming up at 6.
So all eyes on Memphis today. Pam Bondi and Pete Hegseth are both scheduled to visit. Also want to let you know the 24 eastbound is still closed this morning. Old Hickory Boulevard south to Waldron Road for a serious accident. That's it.
5:57, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, so I get it. I get it, Joan.
What do you get?
I've looked at the super text line, and they say that inflatables are white trash.
Yes.
You know,
Yes, they do.
You know what's so funny about that, though? If you actually know me, I've got a little bit of white trash in me.
Do you have an above-ground pool?
Bingo.
Okay, now for the record, my above-ground pool is surrounded by incredible decking.
That's good.
So, yes, I do have an above-ground pool, but
it's not from Walmart. You don't have to take it down every summer.
No.
Yeah.
No. It's great. It's surrounded by decking, and we've redone the decking and the fencing and all that kind of stuff. Why is an above-ground pool, is that considered like white trash?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
What other things, Sam? Apparently, you are, of course, the purveyor of all things white trash. What else is? So inflatables are white trash, which I have.
Yeah.
Above-ground pool, which I have, is also considered white trash. What else is white trash?
Old Pathfinders.
Yeah, broke down vehicles in your front yard.
Okay.
At least one cousin that's addicted to meth. Or a similar amphetamine.
Well, I've got one, but he's dead now, so it's...
Ooh.
Yikes.
Same.
You know,
I say same.
Is it the same thing?
Yeah, well, no, I said I had a cousin that was addicted.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and he wandered out into traffic and got hit by a car.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right, I'm not going to play the shutdown sound there.
Yeah, that's not a good idea.
That could be considered a little white trashy if I did it.
You know what it's starting to sound like?
What's that?
The opening from Home Improvement.
What are real quickly? What are other signs of white trash? Like inflatables, okay. But I don't think I'm white. Am I white trash?
No.
I don't think I'm white trash.
It's really hard to be white trash when you're from California.
There's
It's
a house
more
that
of a
I pass
southern
every
thing.
once in a while that the pool is in the front yard.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
That's
And
trash.
then I go, why would you do that?
Is one last do people who are white trash, do they know that they're white trash?
Sometimes.
Or is there like a lack of self-awareness for people that are...
There's two different levels. There's the self-aware white trash
And the I don't care.
and the I don't care,
yeah.
unaware.
I'm the I don't care if I'm white trash or not. You know why? Because I'm happy. And that's all that matters in the end. I'm happy and I'm right with my maker.
It's true.
There you go.
6 o'clock on WTN.
Good morning, 6 o'clock now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. That crash on 24 eastbound still there this morning. And the closure is between Old Hickory Boulevard and Waldron Road. Now, we are learning from TDOT that they think this may not be open until 8 o'clock this morning. So it's going to be there a while. Your best bet is to try to get on Highway 41, find another route around this morning because it's going to be there for a while. Then on the westbound side, you've got a crash in Murfreesboro right by 840. So the headaches already beginning this morning. In the news, it is the first day on the job. The Memphis Safe Task Force posting 9 arrests in the seizure of 2 weapons. Several television stations in Memphis reporting that residents there don't see troops or notice additional law enforcement so far. Meantime, Attorney General Pam Bondi on Fox News laying the blame for the city's high crime rate on the county prosecutor.
You have a woke Soros DA there. They're letting people out. They're not holding them accountable. So we're coming in with all of our federal agents, and we are going to charge them federally whenever possible.
Bondi, along with War Secretary Pete Hegseth, will be on the ground in Memphis today. Well, after months of feuding with Harvard, the Trump administration now says it's close to reaching a deal with the university that could also address the nation's shortage of blue-collar workers.
As part of the settlement, Harvard would reportedly pay $500 million while agreeing to operate trade schools in return for getting its federal grants restored. The tentative deal comes as the CEO of Ford, Jim Farley, warns the U.S. is far behind rivals like China and Japan in the blue-collar industry, making the U.S. less competitive.
ABC's Morgan Norwood there. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
Stock futures edged lower overnight as investors ponder the potential effect of the U.S. government shutdown that took effect at a minute after midnight. On Tuesday, the major stock averages closed at new record highs. The Dow Jones gaining 81 points to land at 46,398. The S&P tacked on 0.4%. The Nasdaq Composite 0.3. Job openings are up, but a lot of Americans are taking a dimmer view of the employment market. The Commerce Department says employers added about 19,000 positions last month, but a survey from the Conference Board says the share of Americans viewing jobs as plentiful has dropped to its lowest level since 2021. And Amazon is expanding into the lost pets sector. Among the features of the newly announced 4K Ring camera is its ability to launch what it calls Search Party. An AI-powered tool activates Ring cameras in the area where a pet has been reported missing to start looking for the lost dog or cat. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Well, Dow futures right now minus 228, NASDAQ futures down 166, and the S&P futures losing 38 points. That's the latest news. Traffic is coming up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. If you're heading away from the city on 24 this morning, better find a different way to go. You've got 24 eastbound closed down, Old Hickory Boulevard to Waldron Road. It's a crash there in the midst of all of that involving a tractor trailer and a pickup truck. It includes at least one fatality. So they're talking about that roadway being closed down through 8 o'clock this morning. And it's also causing delays on the westbound side as everybody looks over at it. You've also got an accident 24 westbound in Murfreesboro at the off-ramp to I-840. It is on the off-ramp there, and that's causing some delays. Nashville, an accident, West Trinity Lane at Brick Church Pike. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.607 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Yes, the government is shut down. We'll continue our coverage of that story, but also some other really important things are going on. And Brett Sadler is joining us, of course, from the Heritage Foundation, foreign policy expert, Middle East expert as well. And Brett, I got to ask you, We covered this extensively yesterday here on the program. Donald Trump is trying to find a solution to the ongoing war between Hamas and Israel. He has come up with a 20-point plan to try to get Hamas to agree to. Israel has already agreed to the plan. Even Qatar and Egypt and Jordan have agreed to the plan. And I'm reading in the headlines this morning that Hamas doesn't necessarily seem impressed.
Yeah, no, the plan is 20 points, 21 points, depending on how you count it. Complex. The Middle East has a habit of destroying even the most commonsensical and welcome plans and initiatives. But there is reason to be optimistic on this. It's kind of interesting to point out that if Hamas does stay on the sidelines or resist the deal, it doesn't necessarily mean that this plan can't go forward nonetheless, and that's an important thing. You heard President Trump also say earlier in the week with President Netanyahu that if Hamas is resistance, he's got the full backing to completely destroy what's left of Hamas. And again, the goal is, I think from all sides, certainly it's in Americans' best interest, that there is no future role for Hamas in the Middle East.
Well, Brenton, let me ask, so if Hamas doesn't agree, even though Qatar is really working on them to take a serious look at this, what is Hamas's problem? If everybody else agrees to this, they're of the understanding that ultimately this deal means their exit from Gaza.
That's right. I mean, for Hamas and their exit from Gaza is basically their death, their doom. They cease to exist, and they're open to future attacks from their enemies. They have lots of enemies. It's not just the Israelis that they worry about. But the interest of Hamas has never been about the improvement or the betterment of the Palestinian people, or even the eventual establishment of a Palestinian state. It's about themselves. So any deal that has them dealt out is the same as a death wish for them. So from their perspective, why not continue resisting in the very small hope that somehow rescued and the West relents and you get a lifeline to live another day.
Brent Sadler joining us from the Heritage Foundation. Brent, were you surprised at the level of enthusiasm for Donald Trump's plan? I mean, you have all the European, or at least most of the European leaders very excited about this. Trump has their approval. And again, we've already mentioned Egypt, Jordan, and Qatar and so forth. Were you surprised at how there are so many different leaders that were excited about what Trump has now proposed?
Not really. I mean, many of the European leaders, I think, just want the problem to go away because they've got protests on their streets from pro-Hamas groups and their own, Middle Eastern immigrant population that's very agitated about this whole situation since October 7th. So they would rather just go away, which is why you saw countries like the UK giving, statehood to an undescribed Palestinian state. Who are they going to recognize? Sure. It's political posturing. So if President Trump is able to show, and he's demonstrating leadership, but able to show progress on this, it actually makes their lives better at home. It really has nothing, again, to do with the Palestinians or the Palestinian cause for their own independent country. It has everything to do about domestic politics.
It's almost like Trump is saying, you know what, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. And if Hamas chooses the hard way, then talk a little bit about what Benjamin Netanyahu can do if Hamas, and by the way, President Trump, and I'm sure you know this, but folks, Trump has actually given them now a deadline for an official response. Now, if Hamas officially says, nope, we're not going to go for this, what is left for Benjamin Netanyahu to do? The world has already been screaming genocide. Now, I just so you know where I stand on that whole thing, it is Hamas that is causing the genocide because they won't release the hostages. But talk about what it is that that Benjamin Netanyahu can do.
Yeah, I mean, just to be clear, October 7th was a genocide by the Hamas against Israeli people.
Absolutely.
I mean, very demonstrably so. But yeah, to set out that hot button topic aside, so the IDF, the Israeli Armed Forces, are already in the midst of a final kind of offensive to go after one of the last of the holdouts of places where Hamas could be hiding inside Gaza. And so that offensive should continue unabated. By all indications it is, despite this plan being presented. And that pressure needs to continue because there's no indication, certainly if past his prologue, that Hamas is going to enter into any seriousness an agreement that basically is their own demise. So I think it's a safe assumption that they don't, and that the fighting continues, and that Hamas is physically eradicated. They may be like handfuls here or there that's always going to have to be dealt with. But what's key is that the Israelis, with reliable Middle Eastern partners and with the U.S. backing, start bringing back some form of responsible governance into the Gaza. And as that happens, the IDF can withdraw, basically execute the president's peace plan, but just absent Hamas.
So what are the people of Gaza saying? I mean, you have people that will say, well, they don't all support Hamas. You got other people that will say, well, they voted him in. And so I guess my question is, where does the population fall within this plan?
Yeah, it's hard to know for sure because data is very suspect coming out of Gaza. But there's an old saying: you don't get the government you want, you get the government you deserve. And so the Palestinians, I think, understand that the government that they got since 2008 with Hamas, maybe not necessarily with all of their choosing, but it's the government they elected in. Now they've been suffering for years of mismanagement and cruelty under this regime. Hopefully they'll remember that and see a better path forward. But a brutalized population is not necessarily going to see the high road in the next path. So it's unclear. I think there's a very large percentage of the population there that, as brutalized as they are, do support Hamas. And it will take time to de-radicalize and to try to get to a better place for the Palestinian people. It includes their education, which has been radicalized for over a generation now. So the Israelis, the Middle Eastern country partners that go in there, enabled through the Abraham Accords, I think it's going to have to be a generational kind of endeavor to try to change the dynamic. And thankfully, it's a smaller population. It's a geographically constrained area. If they can succeed in Gaza, perhaps they can also show a path forward in the West Bank for a better future for the Palestinians there as well, without having to go through the Hamas ordeal.
Brent Sadler is joining us. Brent, coming up, I got to do a quick check on traffic, but coming up, I'm going to ask you about the Iran factor and a couple of other things straight ahead. It is 6:15. Time to check the roads on WTN. As far as weather for today, partly sunny, warm, high of 86, going to feel like 89. Brent, let me ask you this. For Iran, of course, we all know that President Trump has bombed their nuclear capabilities and so forth. And so how has Iran being damaged impacted Hamas?
Greatly. The regime in Tehran has been enabling through arms and financing and ideologically backing across the region for these terroristic regimes. Hezbollah to the north in Lebanon, decimated by the Israelis after this October 7th attacks. The Houthis still in there, but greatly reduced, but they only survived because Iran's still able to smuggle in arms. And Hamas is totally isolated, and they're also decimated. So Iran is not able to get back in there. Again, as long as that land bridge through Syria and Iraq can be severed, it's very unlikely that Iran's IRGC, the paramilitary organization, to be able to reestablish a presence in any meaningful way in these neighboring areas and even the Palestinian territories to eventually rebuild their terror network. So as long as they don't have the money, as long as they're politically isolated, as long as the world is trying to cut their smuggling routes of arms and munition and illicit finances across the world, I think the Iranians can be kept in a box, rightfully so, and hopefully that regime will turn inward and do better for their own people in the longer term. But it is a significant geostrategic change because of the successes of the Israelis in the battlefield. And I'd also add with the American attacks against the Iranian regime's nuclear enterprise, it completely undercuts their backstop of like a nuclear threat.
So if Trump and Netanyahu, if Hamas comes out and says, nope, no deal, Netanyahu goes in, They still have about, 40 hostages. Hamas still has about 40 hostages. Can Netanyahu go in and, as Trump said, quote unquote, do what you have to do? Then how ugly is that going to be? Because it feels like right now Netanyahu is, I don't know, kind of sort of been not going full on in Gaza because he's trying to, as best he can, avoid civilian casualties. So is he going to be able to go in and do this without massive casualties in Gaza?
Well, I mean, it's it's perhaps some of the most intense type of warfare that you can have. And it almost always devolves down into hand-to-hand, close quarters combat. That's urban warfare. And Gaza is very densely populated in most of the areas. So it has been an intensive fight since the Israelis went in late 2023, and it will stay that way. But what the IDF is doing is an approach where it's in surges, of course, but largely to gradually tighten the noose and take ground little bit by little bit. So the intensity has been steady because this is going to be a long fight, and you need to maintain that military tempo. So there's only so fast that you're going to go, and even when you surge. So I think they continue at the pace they are. They just continue to tighten the noose until they've cleared all territories of Gaza, and then they'll move back as they've secured them and turn it over to responsible parties, ones that they can trust. And it's going to require a very intrusive kind of presence, but not one like an occupation in the midterm. The near term, it's going to be a full-on occupation until they find and they build up trusted, reliable partners, both Middle Eastern peacekeeper types in there as well as local Palestinians, because the population, back to your earlier question, Hamas is kind of like a mafia organization. They have networks and they have subsidiaries, and they have also rivals, and they have tribes that are also in there too that are kind of underneath the mosaic of that, who don't fit fully into Hamas, but they'll opportunistically work with them. So there's a lot of opportunity for the power dynamic to shift once it's shaken up, and that's what the Israelis are doing, and why sometimes you see in the news some groups fighting Hamas, Palestinians fighting Hamas for opportunistic, territory grabs, but you also see some groups lining up with the Israelis and supporting or welcoming them in.
It'll be interesting because, okay, so how do you reach the population in Gaza? You're talking about millions of people. Is it just as simple as feeding them and giving them medical care and the like, and trying to build trust? And then do you see this? And then that question, and then the last question is, okay, so then do you see this sort of resort style thing that President Trump and others have envisioned for that area?
Well, I think it's an all of the above thing. I mean, the fallacy of the 2000s and the elections was this assumption that just because they had an election, that miraculously the society was going to change to a very pacific, peaceful one, willing to live in a democratic process with peace with its neighbors, and that's not the reality. So it's going to have to require economic development. This is President Trump, because it is nice real estate. It is a nice location. There's potential there with the proper management and the right investment. So economic development clearly is a part of it. It was attempted in the past, but it was twisted by Hamas. This was like the agricultural thing, and a lot of Palestinians were going across the border to work in Israel up until October 7th of 2023. The second is education. The UN organizations there have been twisted and taken over by Hamas, and you had anti-Semitic and you had virulent type of education in like grade school level up in the Gaza Strip. And it's also in the West Bank also. It's not just limited to Gaza. So education, economic development, security, so policing, so that you don't have the mafiosa Hamas like resurrected to start to brutalize the Palestinians again. So there has to be also a policing or a security part. And this is, classic counter-insurrection kind of activities and rebuilding institutions. But this is where hopefully the partners in the Abraham Accords come in, like the UAE or Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, hopefully also, who are trusted by the Israelis and also trusted by the Palestinians to an extent to actually help in that physical security day to day, so that better kind of worldview can start to emerge in the Palestinian people. Because right now it's not there.
No. And Brent, we'll leave it there. But thank you very much. Brent Sadler from the Heritage Foundation talking about what is next for Israel and Hamas. We'll have to see what happens. As I said, we have President Trump has apparently given a deadline to Hamas, and word is from the Hamas camp that they are not impressed. We'll continue to follow that story as it continues to develop. It is 6:22 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Joan's got the news coming up at 6:30. Joan.
Yeah, we've got the latest coming out of Memphis this morning. What happened there yesterday as the operation to cull violent crime there began. That and more. And we'll take a look at the roads once again because 24 eastbound has been closed off all morning long by a serious accident in Laverne. By the way, it's still there. We've got more details coming up here at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
By the way, Joan, if people are saying that we need to call Chris Hand and tell him to leave early, take another route.
I think that that's probably a really good idea.
Okay.
He should be out of bed right now and on his way.
Okay. I'll send him a text. I'm sure that he'll be thrilled.
You do it.
Thank you, Joan. 6:23, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You know, the other day I'm over at a friend's house, right? He's pumped to watch football, but his setup is a total mess. Lagging, buffering, and switching between apps trying to find the game. Now, this dude claimed that he was a big fan, but I feel like I've been fan-fished. Now, if you call yourself a football fan, you've got to have Xfinity. Now, I've got all the best games all in one place, plus enhanced 4K, so it feels like I'm in the stadium. Now, next game day, make sure that that big fan isn't a big fail. Call my friends at Xfinity. I have been a customer for years and years. I was a customer before I was an endorser. So call them to get started, 1-800-XFINITY. Find them online, Xfinity.com. Drop into an Xfinity store today. As always, tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. Xfinity, the Wi-Fi is booming. Call them, 1-800-XFINITY. Find them online, Xfinity.com. Drop into an Xfinity store today. And again, tell them Dan Mandis said hello. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. 629, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. And folks asking Joan, why is it that WTN is no longer on Rumble?
Oh, that's a good question. Why? Do you know?
I have. You know what? Sam, you want to handle this one? Because Sam is going to say it a lot more colorful than me. We don't know.
I have no idea.
Yeah,
but
they did.
I also know that if I had a list of passwords and the accounts, I could at least try to reset them.
So, they, on occasion, they will reset things in here and not tell anybody.
Oh.
So they've done that, and I have no idea.
So it may not be a permanent thing.
No, it's not a permanent thing. But listen, there's so many ways to watch us.
Mm-hmm.
You got your Facebook. You got your Twitch. You got your X. You got 997WTN.com. My favorite, YouTube as well. You can watch us pretty much anywhere.
Except Rumble today.
I knew you'd say that. And also, you can stream us anywhere as well. So if you want to check us out, feel free.
Just not on Rumble.
Always be sure to listen to us at 99.7 on your FM dial. Got a lot more straight ahead on WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And the big top story in traffic this morning is the big problem on 24 eastbound. It's in Laverne. The highway is closed off Old Hickory Boulevard south to Waldron Road. 24 eastbound. It's stop and go, too, for a long time before that. And the problem is an accident. It's a tractor trailer versus a pickup truck in the middle of that. There was a fatality. It is causing huge problems on 24, even in the westbound lanes as folks are slowing down to look at what's happening. Also this morning, you've got other accidents, too, on Murfreesboro Pike between Hamilton Church Road and Waldron Road. There's a detour in that area. So things are a mess on the roads this morning. You may want to schedule extra time to get into work. In the news, 9 arrests, 2 weapons. That is the running count so far in Memphis, where federal agencies have begun working to cut back on violent crime. Memphis city leaders staged a town hall last night. They were hoping to provide some clarity for residents about what's to come. Mayor Paul Young framing the action as building upon the previous success at battling crime in his city.
I just had the first engagement with all the federal agencies yesterday, at least with them on the ground. I think we're still working through how they're going to fold into some of the things that are working within MPD.
Now, Young has said in the past that he didn't think the federal government stepping in was the best way to combat violent crime in his city. In Oklahoma, ICE agents and Highway Patrol working together arrested 120 illegal immigrants on Interstate 40, said to be a port of entry near the Texas border. Some of the arrests, illegals with unverifiable licenses driving tractor-trailer trucks. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt calling it alarming. The blame game is on after the midnight deadline passed without an agreement on a continuing resolution to keep the government funded. Here's President Trump.
Well, the Democrats want to shut it down, so when you shut it down, you have to do layoffs. So we'd be laying off a lot of people that are going to be very affected.
And Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer.
Their bill, they call it clean. We call it totally partisan. There was no input from Democrats. Not a single line in their bill had input from Democrats.
More votes on the same bills are expected today. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 633, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk. Vision for Life. Now, they are celebrating 20 years of 2020. Since 2005, Dr. Jeff Horn has provided thousands of patients 20/20 or better vision. Now, this is where I went to for my vision correction surgery. I am a lot happier with my vision now than I used to be, trust me. Vision for Life is one of the premier vision correction centers in the world, and it is right here in Nashville, Tennessee. So help them celebrate 20 years of providing 20/20 vision by scheduling your consultation today. Their phone number is 615-436-2020. If you're thinking about vision correction surgery, call Dr. Jeff Horn and the Vision Pros at Vision for Life. As always, tell him Dan Mandis told you to reach out. 615-436-2020, 615-436-2020, visionforlife.com. Dan Mandis here for my friends at Zentex. Listen, if you're thinking about a bathroom upgrade, Zentex Remodeling Group, They have you covered right now. A great deal for my listeners. Save $999 off your bathroom project or get 0% interest financing, and you get a free Kohler toilet with purchase or mention of WTN. This is a great deal, and this is a great company. Family owned and operated, local business, 2001. 2022 winner of the Better Business Bureau Torch Award for Ethics. And let me tell you something. This is a company that a lot of folks have gone to. If you've reached out to me, you've told me how great it was to go through Zentex for your bathroom remodel. They're also the 2024 finalist of the Better Business Bureau International Torch Award for Ethics. And so I'm telling you, the bullet points for Zentex, they go on and on and on. Make your bathroom safer with a walk-in shower with grab bars and a bench seat from Zentex for the older folks in your life. Now, they offer free, no obligation, in-home consultations, and you and I both know that these kind of bathroom upgrades, they can do wonders for your home's value. Now, don't forget that great deal. Right now, save $999 off your bathroom project or get 0% interest financing, whichever works best for you. Plus, you mentioned WTN, you get a free Kohler toilet. Find them online at Zintex, Zentex.com.
So it is still closed off 24 eastbound in Laverne this morning. The closure between Old Hickory Boulevard South and Waldron Road. And that's the crash there involving a tractor trailer and a pickup truck and a fatality. So there is a long investigation happening there. We are told that it may not be open until 8 o'clock this morning on the eastbound lanes of 24. Of course, everyone on the westbound side wants to look over what's happening there. And so it's causing a delay leading up to that spot as well on the westbound side. You've got delays as well on all the areas this morning where the traffic has gone on detour, Highway 41 being one of them. So a lot of delays heading in to Nashville this morning from the Laverne area. Careful as you go. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.637, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan.
Hello.
So yesterday was day 1 or day 2 of the National Guard in Memphis. I don't even know anymore.
Yeah,
it's a little confusing, is it not?
I have to tell you that National Guard troops aren't even there yet. It's the other agencies that have shown up. So you've got the ATF, what are the other agencies that are there? The FBI,
right?
The Marshal Service. They're all there right now, and they're actually performing stops. There was a story about U.S. Marshals pulling over a car that had run through a red light and arrested 2 guys with tons of pot in their car. They both had loaded guns on them. And they shouldn't have, but they weren't eligible to have a gun. So they were arrested. So, they're doing things.
You got all these guys that have felonies and they shouldn't have firearms. And
correct.
Obviously, marijuana and guns also don't mix.
Yeah.
So, and I'd be willing to bet that they're probably, dealing drugs and that kind of a thing, but whatever.
Yeah.
So good. So then when the National Guard does get in there, then they'll be cracking some skulls. As I, said yesterday, something very satisfying about seeing bad guys having to deal with the ramifications and the consequences of their actions.
So you may not actually ever see them. I'm predicting this because what happened yesterday was that Pam Bondi deputized some National Guardsmen as U.S. Marshals. So
Yes.
it kind of puts them in a different category. You're not going to see, like in D.C., where they were out on the streets and patrolling. You're not going to see that. This is going to be a little more, not undercover, but they're going to be
Subtle.
like a little more subtle. Thank you. That's a good word for it.
Make Memphis great again.
Make Memphis great again.
Make MMGA, which does not spell any kind of a word.
Nothing. Right.
Moving right along. State Senator Brent Taylor was in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee. I don't know if you saw this, but earlier this week, he was testifying about crime in Memphis. And he was, again, in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee.
Memphis, as you know, consistently ranks amongst America's most dangerous cities. Last year, Memphis reported 111,000 crimes, 19,000 arrests. And of those 19,000 arrests, a whopping 56% were dismissed.
That is insanity. So it sounds like the vast majority of crimes, and we all know this is a problem, but Brent Taylor is testifying now in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee, talking about how the vast majority of crimes, they are dismissed. And one of the things that we clearly, obviously know is that when you dismiss the crime, then more crime happens because the bad guys are emboldened because they know that they're not going to face any consequences. So we all know the issue with the DA out there in Shelby County, a guy who simply will not do his job, a guy by the name of Steve Mulroy. We have spoken to State Senator Brent Taylor about this guy before, and they say that he got a ton of money, wait for it, from George Soros, which, by the way, he does deny. But, you know, he's got all the earmarks of a George Soros DA, letting bad guys go with no charges filed, etc.
And unless we do something, Memphis will hollow out its middle class, and all that will be left are the extremely poor who can't afford to leave and the extremely wealthy who can afford private security to stay. The root of this crisis, in my view, lies in part with our Soros-backed DA, Steve Mulroy. He was elected in 2022, and he started implementing policies like a proposed diversion program for felons caught in possession of a firearm. He also does not oppose parole for first-degree murderers who are in prison trying to get out. These type of policies undermine justice in Memphis. DA Mulroy also operates his very own Innocence Project inside his office that successfully moved Michael Samples, a twice-convicted murderer on death row, to life in prison. That sentence now makes him eligible for parole.
Yeah, now, Michael Samples has been labeled intellectually disabled. And so he was able to get off of death row thanks to the district attorney there in Shelby County. And now that that's happened, others are following suit. So this guy, Michael Samples, who killed 2 people, thanks to the soft on crime policies, might be let out on parole and walking the streets. So, yeah, he went through, and again, this is audio from Brent Taylor, the state senator for the fine region there of Shelby County. And he went through all of the things that he has tried to do to get laws passed that will get Memphis safer. But it's obviously clearly a struggle. They've had a lot of high-profile crimes in the last several years. You folks know that. And so they're always on the list of most dangerous cities, et cetera. And he's got a list of things that he's looking to do to enact tougher on-crime policies, including, by the way, entering in consent decrees that would require the Shelby County DA, Steve Mulroy, to do just that, to enforce the law, to charge criminals and keep the bad guys in jail and keep the bad guys on death row.
To maximize these efforts, I would encourage this Senate to swiftly confirm Mike Donovan as our U.S. Attorney for Western District of Tennessee, because his proven tough on crime leadership will help with prosecutions in Memphis and ensure that criminals have the consequences that are not getting under our state DA. Lastly, I would recommend the Department of Justice enter into consent decrees that will require the Shelby County District Attorney and our justice system to enforce tough on crime policies so that Memphians can maintain the right to live in their home, to travel about our city that they love, and enjoy their property. To make Memphis matter, Mr. Chairman, we have to make Memphis safe. But let's also make Memphis a model of how this Congress can turn around great American cities. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
There you go. Make Memphis great again. I mean, Memphis has it. When was the last time Memphis was great? I don't even know. Like, I've been here for 12 years, and it's been a crap show.
When Mike Conley, Mark Gasol, and Zach Randolph took them to like the second round of the playoffs, that was the last time.
Is that basketball?
Yeah, the Grizzlies.
Oh, whatever. You heard him, by the way, talk about Operation Viper. We've spoken about this before. Joan and I were actually just talking about that, where you've got both the state senator and Senator Marsha Blackburn, also Senator Haggerty, all of them have been on this show talking about how Operation Viper was deemed very successful with hundreds of arrests, 500 arrests or more, and more than 100 federal indictments. And that was not with the National Guard. That was a surge of other law enforcement agencies. So now with the National Guard active at some point, we should see that drive towards a safer Memphis to continue. So to bring us full circle, as Attorney General Pam Bondi noted on Twitter yesterday, on X yesterday, she had 9 arrests. I don't know, Joan, if you have a different number.
No, that's the number I have, 9.
9 arrests, 2 illegal firearm charges and taken off the streets.
That's the two guys I was telling you about that got pulled over by the marshals.
And the devil's lettuce in their car as well.
That's them.
219 officers, they say, were special deputized, and the Joint Operations Center is now up and running. By the way, with the amount of crime in Memphis, I'm just going to say this. I don't mean to be a Danny Downer. 9 arrests doesn't seem like all that much. Can I just be honest with the amount of crime that they have in Memphis? Spoke to Senator Bill Haggerty on this yesterday on this here program. We'll talk about that straight ahead. Also, Sam tells me there's some killer audio from none other than one of my favorites, Josh Hawley, on this very topic. Yes. We'll talk about that straight ahead. Time to check the roads on WTN. All right, very good. As far as your weather goes, looks like it's going to be partly sunny, warm, high of 86. Going to feel like 89. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. This was Senator Bill Haggerty on this show yesterday talking about what is going on in Memphis and how the National Guard going in will help Memphis become safer.
We have a shot. I started this work back in November of last year with the mayor of Memphis, Paul Young. Those conversations led to the initial step of putting together a strike force. That strike force ended its work about 2.5 weeks ago. We've already nabbed about 500 of the worst criminals in Memphis. This was the quiet, stealth FBI maneuver, tripled the number of FBI, added more DEA officials there, and we have made a major first strike. President Trump saw the success of this, and it's now not just the National Guard. That's what gets the media. 16 federal agencies are involved, and even including the IRS, because these gangs that operate there have illicit revenue streams. We're going to charge these criminals federally. That means they're not going to the Shelby County Jail. They're going to Leavenworth. That's what we need, is to get these criminals out of our state. That's what's going to be underway starting again this week, a major effort. And Governor Lee and I pledged to the people of Memphis that we will put in place the resources long-term to fill the gap. They've been consistently under-resourced when it comes to law enforcement. And rather than argue about, poor allocation of resources in the past, we're there to say we're going to help get this right going forward.
All right, so there you go. That was Senator Bill Haggerty. Now, you, Sam, you say you've got some audio. Joan, I have not listened to this. So let's play fun with audio. Sam's got something. Set this up.
Yeah, so Senator Josh Hawley is confronting an ex-Biden staffer. This is about the national position across the Democratic Party of what they want crime policies to look like.
Very much. I want to talk about some of these policies that have gotten to where we are today. Mr. Jackson, if I could just start with you. You were deputy director in the Biden White House for gun violence and a special assistant to the president. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You're also affiliated with the Community Justice Action Fund. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm also a survivor of gun violence.
You were their executive director. When was that, the Community Justice Action Fund?
2021 to 2023.
And you're affiliated with them now?
Yes, as executive advisor.
Okay. The Community Justice Action Fund is. Do you disclose your donors?
Yes.
All of the donors are public?
Yes.
You're funded by the Tides Advocacy Group, among others?
They're a fiscal sponsor.
This is right.
They
That would be
handle
a
our
donor.
HR.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This is a George Soros funded group.
No.
He's one of the donors.
No.
He's a donor to the Tides Advocacy Group.
Yeah, that's our fiscal sponsor. So they handle our HR, our back office, our operations.
Great. Okay. Great. So in other words, I mean that's
we're one of 300 organizations.
right that they run. You are a
Yeah, but
subset
we
of
pay them to be a fiscal
Well,
sponsor.
you are a subset of that organization, which he helps to fund, right? Okay. All right. Just wanted to get a level set here.
I like how, pause that real quick.
I want to ask you about some of the.
I like how, Joan, he is desperately trying to obfuscate
Yes.
the fact that George Soros is funding. There was a story out I think it was this morning or whenever it was, last couple of days, where, I mean, George Soros, they're tracking him down for funding of all of these NGOs that he mentioned, the Tides Foundation. Which
George
is,
and Alex.
George and Alex, of course, we can't forget Alex.
And people are like, well, the Biden should be locked up. If you could stop the Soros family, you would stop countless senseless deaths due to these soft on crime policies that Holly's about to lay into this guy about.
Oh, yeah. This is, I know this audio. Go ahead and play it now.
Policies that you've advocated because they're exactly what we see implemented in these blue cities, like defunding the police.
No.
Oh, indeed. Let
That's
me just
not. We
quote to
advocated
you from-
for
Wait,
investing.
I haven't asked a question yet. We'll get to. I've got a lot of questions. Believe me, and I'll give you time. So let's talk about this report that you issued when you were executive director, a policymaker's playbook. And I'll ask you to enter it into the record, Mr. Chairman. Great.
Without objection.
Thank you. In this report, you advocate, and I quote now, defunding the police because the long-term goal is fundamentally to reimagine how the state serves its citizens in the project of public safety. You go on to say police departments traumatize residents through a destructive cycle of racist over-policing, and the answer is not to add any more money to police budgets. Talk to me about, why is it that denying policing to the most vulnerable communities is a solution? I know that's what the blue cities are doing, but why is that a good idea?
It's not.
Well, look, I in no way stand with defunding law enforcement. I mean,
that's what your report says.
Sheriff Mike Sheridan, who taught me how to drive when I was 16 years old.
Wait. Your report, when your executive director said you wanted to defund the police, do you renounce this report? Mr. Jackson, do you renounce the report that you authored as executive director? Here it is.
You're the second senator to bring up an op-ed or
This isn't an op-ed. This is your report, a policymaker's playbook to reduce gun violence without policing communities.
There you go.
Okay.
Community Justice Action Fund, copyright 2023, when you were executive director. Now you say you don't know anything about it. Now you say that you haven't heard of it, just like the Democrats who all of a sudden say, oh, we're all for the police. They've been advocating defunding them for years. Okay.
You can't deny that. You can't deny that. Now, in the 7 o'clock hour, we'll play the rest of that because is that the entire clip?
No, there's a little bit more where it gets
where they start talking about
even more ridiculous.
Okay, we talk about the Two-Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll maybe I'll either play it for Brian Wilson because he's coming up at 7, or we'll play it at 7:35 because it is so incredibly funny, Joan, where Josh Hawley is like, wait a minute. So you wanted to fund the police, but you want to somehow, protect the Two-Spirit people?
Two-Spirit, yeah.
The Two-Spirit people.
And the lesbian and the trans community and all, it goes into this, it comes back to the intersectionality of oppression.
Two-Spirit is a contemporary term used by some indigenous North Americans to describe individuals who embody both masculine and feminine qualities, often fulfilling unique cultural roles within their communities. It's got to be hell to be a Two-Spirit. Wouldn't that be difficult? You've got all the worst traits of both, right? So if you, I don't want to get into the whole thing, but
on the one hand, you can't take accountability, and then on the other hand, you can't fold a fitted sheet.
I can fold a fitted sheet. You just roll it up into a ball.
Well,
Is that what you're supposed to do?
Yeah, that's our standard for it. If you ask the X and Y chromosome people.
All right, it is 6:53 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan, what do we got coming up at 7?
All right, Dan, Coming up here at 7 o'clock. Of course, I wasn't
Hi,
ready
Joan.
for you. Sorry.
Sorry.
The shutdown of the federal government, of course, it got underway at midnight. And there's some really good news. Well, good news. There's some interesting news. Beginning today, your tax dollars, they're not going to pay for public broadcasting anymore. It began today. That's coming up here at 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
But remember, Joan, that is one of the things that the Democrats desperately want back.
I know they do.
So,
yeah. I feel bad for the people that lost their jobs. But
the NPRs and the PBSers?
The NPRers, yeah.
Okay, very good. Yeah. By the way, I don't think they're still on the air.
They are.
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever.
Some of them are on the air, not everyone.
Right. I guess they had to do some cutbacks, which, hey, NPR and PBS, welcome to broadcasting in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
Good Lord. All right, Dan Mandis here, 655, DT McCall's. A great Tennessee company. They are here for their fellow Tennesseans with great prices, great selection, and great value. Now, I've been telling you for years about DT McCall's. Like many of my clients, I was a customer before I was an endorser. They've been helping people out for 3 generations, and if you need it, they've got it at DT McCall's. Indoor furniture. If you've got a room to fill, go to DT McCall's, and if you need an appliance, if it plugs in, they've got it. They've always got specials going on also to save you money. Just go to their website. It's dtmccalls.com. Front page, you're going to see great deals on furniture and appliances, all the best brands as well. Check them out online again, dtmccalls.com. They've been at it for over 100 years with a focus on customer service. And if you buy it, they will deliver it for free and haul away the old stuff. 5 locations across Middle Tennessee, Carthage, Cookeville, Lebanon, Lafayette, and Franklin. Always online, dtmccalls.com. 6:59, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I cannot wait, Joan. I cannot wait to tell Brian Wilson what you said. What you said earlier in this radio broadcast.
What?
I'm not, listen, no. You'll find out like everybody else, including Brian, when we talk to Brian coming up at about 7:05 right here on Super Talk. But I think that he is going to disabuse you of what you said earlier today. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. You just wait, young lady.
So what did I say?
Well, you'll just have to find out coming up at 7:05. No,
category of
Joan, you're gonna have to find out like everybody else.
Yeah.
I could not believe what you said. All of that and more coming up with Brian Wilson here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning now, 7 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories, and it is still closed on eastbound 24 this morning, Old Hickory Boulevard to Waldron Road. There was a crash earlier this morning, happened about 2 in the morning. A the traffic is stopped all the way back at Bell Road this morning by that, and the westbound side of 24 is also backed up heading into that same area. A lot of looky-loos there. You've got some delays this morning all over the place as well because of folks trying to use alternate roads. It is a mess. In the news, here we are 7 hours into a partial government shutdown after lawmakers in Congress failed to pass a short-term funding bill.
Senate Majority Leader John Thune is working to get Democrats to cross party lines to keep the government funded for 7 more weeks.
There are some conversations. There are Democrats who are very unhappy with the situation that they're in.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer standing firm with the Democrats.
Our guarantee is to the American people that we're going to fight as hard as we can for their health care.
Demanding cuts to Medicaid be restored and demanding Obamacare tax credits be extended to prevent millions of Americans' insurance premiums from going up.
ABC's Lionel Moise. As for today, the Republican bill that would give Congress until November 21st to set funding priorities, that'll be voted on again. And more votes to come through the rest of the week and into the weekend, too, until either a deal is struck or Democrats give in. Also, some federal workers could lose their jobs permanently with this shutdown. Office of Management and Budget Director Russ Vought issuing guidance earlier this month warning offices to consider plans for mass layoffs in the event of a shutdown. President Trump saying that including in that memo that the government can choose to cut vast numbers of federal employees permanently by cutting programs entirely. And one more fiscal note, with yesterday marking the end of the federal government's fiscal year, the government's funding for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting has officially run out. Channel 4's Marius Payton.
Over the summer, Republicans took back $1 billion in funds that had been budgeted for public media. Local PBS and NPR affiliates have laid off staffers, limited travel, and limited operations to make up for these cuts.
Yeah, Nashville's NPR station still on the air this morning. New information for you about the man who attacked a Mormon church during Sunday's service in Michigan. ABC's Alex Perez.
According to 2 of his lifelong friends, this animosity towards the Mormon community began when he lived in Utah in the early 2000s. Caroline Levitt, the White House spokesperson on Fox and Friends, said that in her communications with the FBI and their research, they've determined that he had a long-standing hatred for the Mormon community.
4 people were killed, 8 wounded. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Wall Street doesn't like an economy that's been shut down. So the Dow futures right now, minus 160. NASDAQ futures minus 115. S&P futures falling 27. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Pick a Jones, 7:03. You know, the weather in Middle Tennessee, it can get crazy, which is why you need a backup home standby generator from my friends at the Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. Now, you can get a free quote and get peace of mind when you have one installed. The Generator Supercenter does feature expert installation, 24-hour monitoring as well. What it really does, though, is when the power goes out in your neighborhood, your home is going to be powered. Your lights are going to be on thanks to the Generator Supercenter. They're not going to leave you in the dark. Financing is available. 615-879-1952. 615-879-1952. You can find them online anytime. Do me a favor. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. Generator Supercenter of Nashville.com.
Could be this way through 8 o'clock, so maybe another an hour's worth of closure, perhaps, on 24, the eastbound side, Old Hickory Boulevard to Waldron Road. Serious accident happened overnight about 2 o'clock in the morning, and they're saying that we may see that roadway open again by 8 o'clock this morning, causing delays on the westbound side as well. You've got delays heading in on 24 eastbound from the north this morning. Very, very slow in the area of, in the area of Pinnacle, all the way down into the merge with 65 through Goodlettsville there as well. It's very slow. And 40 looks like it's jammed up this morning heading into the airport area. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.708 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends, and welcome on into a Wednesday. And every Wednesday at this time, we speak to our old buddy, our old friend and radio buddy, Brian Wilson. Hey, Brian, how are you?
Hey, Dano, how you doing this morning?
I'm okay, Brian. You know, I don't know if you heard earlier this morning, way back in the 5 o'clock hour.
No, I was just getting around. I mean, I must have missed it. What did Joan do?
Uh-oh.
You know, I know, Brian, that you are a fan of inflatables like I am.
Oh, I see.
Well, Joan actually said that inflatables are white trash. Now, for people that are now, hold on.
Use those words.
You literally so if people are watching on Super Talk TV, go to Super Talk TV right now. I've got actually my Brian, you'll love this. My home video of my Halloween decor that Amy decided to put up.
You went to the wall on it, did you?
Well, Amy did. I was asleep.
Yeah.
And she's not even done yet. But Brian, I got to ask a question. I mean, how does that, as a fellow inflatable connoisseur, how does that make you feel that Joan is calling you white trash?
Well, you know, at one point, I had a 27-foot inflatable Christmas tree.
Yes, you did.
That I put out, and it was a thing. People came from all around to see it, and it was really remarkable. And it lasted exactly one season before it got a big punctured hole, and I could never use it but 1 year. So I'm sort of. I love them.
Lord.
I think they're fun, but I've sort of decided that maybe they're not for me because I can't keep them in one piece.
So we are going on, I think, one of our inflatables. And by the way, somebody asked if I had Medusa in my front yard. No, that is a screaming tree. And Brian, we were laughing earlier. Do you know what somebody needs to do for Halloween? Somebody needs to do an inflatable of Maxine Waters.
Well,
With
that
her
would be
wig askew.
terrifying. That'd be the scariest thing that we could say. I saw her the other day. Man, she looks bad.
She does look, well, let's be honest. I mean, I've been following politics for years. She's never looked good. I mean, moving right along. All right, so let's talk about so anyway, if you want to see my inflatables, go watch us on YouTube.
All right.
So the thing is that at least Brian has an in-ground pool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, my pool is in ground.
Yeah.
Joan,
Classy, Brian.
So shut up.
At least
Brian,
Dan has a deck around him.
Do you leave your Christmas lights on all year long around the windows and?
No. But I can tell you that Christmas is a big deal, and we're already negotiating over how many Christmas trees there will be this year. Last year it was like, I don't know, 16.
Oh,
it was ridiculous.
You've got to.
I counted 11 last time I was there.
Well, yeah, but you didn't see all of them.
Oh.
Yeah, they've got like Christmas trees in the pantry. I mean, it's insane. All right, let's
move on to some news.
Government shutdown. Brian, go.
Well, first of all, you need 5 votes. 5 Democrats have got to come across, or this thing's not going anywhere. They're Senate Democrats. They got 3 of them. They need 5 more votes to get to 60.
Yep.
Anything that you do in Washington that's difficult requires 60 votes in the Senate, or you face a filibuster. So, until Democrats come around, we're going to keep having these votes. I'm okay with it. I love the fact that Trump laid down this marker yesterday saying, you know what? We'll go ahead and we're going to have a government shutdown, but we can then permanently get rid of certain non-essential government employees during the shutdown, and Democrats can't do a thing about it. So it's a remarkable opportunity to reduce the size of government if they choose to go that way, and I think maybe they will, and we'll see how much the Trump administration takes advantage of it. But this is definitely the Schumer shutdown. There's just no doubt about it. Schumer is the problem, and it's all going to fall back on the Democrats. We will see today. I promise you, if it hasn't already happened this morning, you will see a sign. They will, everywhere you look, there will be media organizations reporting the signs in front of national parks, because that's the first thing that they can find.
Yes.
That's an indication that the government has truly shut down. Most people won't even notice it.
No, most people won't even notice it. And there's a couple of things going on, Brian, as you know, with Chuck Schumer. Back in March, they were livid with him when he backed down on a previous continuing resolution. And you had the ladies on The View, you had AOC, and all of these people going after Schumer. Schumer's up for re-election in 2028. Yeah. So AOC is hot on his trail. There was some polling that shows that she would beat him by like a wide margin in a primary.
I think she might, and he's becoming hugely unpopular in his own state, and so I wouldn't be surprised by that at all. I got to tell you, when 65% of Americans say that they don't want to see a government shutdown, no matter how much it hurts. The Democrats, and that includes 59% of independents, which you got to look at. This does not bode well for them for the midterm elections.
Well, we are definitely calling it the Schumer shutdown.
It is the Schumer shutdown. It is. It's all on him.
It is all on him.
Could it be resolved today? It could. But if it doesn't get resolved today, I think we may be in for a while.
But how do they, Brian, let me ask you, I mean, how do you resolve this? I mean, both sides.
The times that this thing has gone on and on and on, it really just becomes, somebody has to blink. And I don't get the impression that Donald Trump is going to blink.
Oh, he's not blinking because
He's
he
not
knows.
blinking at all. Yeah, he knows he's got them where he wants
that
them,
he's got them right where he wants them. That's number one. And number two, one of the other things that I thought was fascinating is his epic trolling. I don't know if you saw this, where you had Jeffries and Schumer in the Oval Office for that meeting, and Trump offered them Trump 2028 hats.
2028 hats. I saw that.
Isn't that amazing?
They politely apparently declined, is what I'm told. So,
yes, they did. All right, so we'll have to see what happens there.
Yeah.
Talk about, we haven't had you on since last week. A few days ago, I covered this. January 6th.
Wow.
Where we found out that they had, I forget the exact number, was it 243 folks that worked there within the FBI on the grounds?
What I've got now, the latest reading that I got on this is that that on January 6th, and this is, of course, very important to me because I was there.
You were there. You and I were on the air together. I was
That's
here
right.
and you were in Washington, D.C. That
That's
was
right.
crazy.
It was nuts. But now we're learning that in that crowd where I was out there reporting were apparently 274 special agents of the FBI and an additional 89 so-called, and I don't know what this term means, intelligence specialists and support. And they were there. Why in the world did the FBI tell us that they weren't there? They kept saying, well, we had a few people, we had a few informants in the crowd, just to keep
Christopher Wray,
Yeah.
James Comey, the two of them. And so now there's a lot of, I had Stuart Parks on that day when when that news broke, and he was, of course, on right there, with you, and not with you, with you, but he was there. And he's got a lot more questions, and so do a lot of people, which is like, okay, so what were they doing there? Were they trying to get the crowd riled up? Did they encourage them to go into the Capitol? Brian, 1 second. We got to check traffic. There's a big problem on 24. 7:15, time to check the roads on WTN. As far as your weather goes today, it's going to be nice, partly sunny and warm, high of 86, feeling like 89. So, Brian, where does this whole new J6 investigation go?
Well, I think it's going to be, I think we're going to get some more information, and Kash Patel will probably provide it. Now they're sort of backing up and saying, well, they were sent over for crowd control. I don't know. Here's the other thing that gets me, the bombs outside that were planted outside the party headquarters, the Democrat headquarters, the Republican headquarters, one of them not far from where Kamala Harris was sort of stacked for that day, where they put her in over at the Democrat headquarters.
Right.
Well, this bomb, it's who planted the bombs? There's a lot more information about that now, and apparently, according to Chairman Barry Loudermilk, they're getting some new data that raise questions about cell phone data. See, the police, first thing they do when they're trying to find out who committed a crime is they immediately now seek out cell phone records for the place where the crime took place. Whose cell phones were there? And they know about what time the bombs were planted because they have a video. It's from a long distance and it's not very good, but they've got one.
Right.
So they know when. So they go back and they look at that specific time, whose cell phone data was in that area, who would be responsible, so they can then track it down. For some reason, the cell phone data are corrupted.
For some reason.
Weird. How about that?
Yeah.
Out of all the data, that particular moment in time, strangely enough, there are missing parts of that data. So
it's also so strange. You're talking about the most photographed or videoed area in the United States,
Right.
Washington, D.C.
You can't go anywhere in that town without being on a camera.
It's crazy. So there is a lot to find out about that. Yesterday, live on the show, we carried a little bit of Pete Hegseth's speech and to the fat generals and the fat admirals, among many other things he said. We carried some of this. Chris Hand was all over it. Matt Murphy, of course, all over it as well. Not sure about Chad, probably too. But I can tell you that this was a great speech.
I look at speeches, first of all, as a communicator, somebody who's studied the art of communication and hopefully has learned a few things along the way. It was the most perfectly delivered speech I've ever seen. Pete Hegseth was on the money. He was sharp. He was focused. His communication effort could not have been more clear. And the one thing about it is you can't have been at that meeting and have any ambiguity about what he wants. He wants a war-fighting ethos. He wants the Pentagon to get ready, and it's no longer the Department of Defense, it's the Department of War. And we are going to be war fighters, and they're going to, anything that takes away from that mission is going to be not important. And I love the speech. I love the content. I love the way it was delivered. It was singularly one of the most impressive speeches I've seen given.
Brian, in our remaining moments, I know that you're heartbroken over news of a big split here in Nashville.
Those crazy kids. I am so saddened. I really was. I was caught off guard by it. I don't know why it impacted me, but I was really sad to hear about the split of Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, they're 19 years.
Yeah, they've been there. They show up at hockey games here in town. They're sort of our adopted royalty, country royalty of some level. She's a big movie star. He's a big country star. We always, we sort of watched them with great interest, and they seem to get along great when you see them in public. But apparently behind the scenes, there were problems.
You know what I'm reading.
And we're hearing.
You know what I'm reading. I'm reading a couple of things.
Okay.
I'm reading that Nicole Kidman, in her 50s, right, she has turned into a big-time sex symbol, and she's doing a lot of really just intricate scenes like that, and that may be a sore spot for Keith Urban. That's number one. Number two, they're always separated because either he's on tour, she's living in this home in, I guess, London or someplace, and so they're never really together. And I guess she was floored by the fact that he had announced that he had filed for divorce or was going to file for divorce. But he moved out a while ago. I mean, they've been living separately.
They've been in separate homes for a while, and I had not heard that. Look, I don't know. I will tell you this, that when you have a high-profile divorce like this, you have to take a lot of what you hear in the going with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Because, publicists are involved. Her publicist is out there trying to keep her reputation as sterling as it possibly can be. His publicists are doing it. I mean, it's not just, two people who file a document in the court. This is a bigger deal. And they're, these people both have entourages that surround them that take care of stuff like this. And so you're going to see a lot of charges and countercharges, but I'm just saddened by it. I thought they had something special, and I'm really disappointed that those two crazy kids can't put it together.
Did you hear about the prenup?
No, I didn't.
So apparently, from what I read, they have a prenuptial agreement, and Keith Urban was getting millions of dollars for every year that he remained drug-free in the relationship.
Wow.
Yeah, that's great. She owes, if that stands, then she owes him like millions of dollars. Really interesting.
Isn't that weird? I don't know. It just seems strange to me.
Well, yeah. She wanted to make sure that he was going to be clean and sober because when right after they got married, I know way too much about this, but right after they got married,
we're interested. We can't help.
Yeah,
because they're such compelling public figures.
I love Keith Urban's music. I love his music, and I've seen him in concert many times.
That guy can play guitar like nobody's business.
So apparently, right after they got married, Nicole Kidman, staged an intervention and got him and helped get him clean and sober.
He's been very clear about that. He did have a substance abuse problem.
Oh, yeah.
You know how difficult those things are. Mm-hmm. And they crop up from time to time. You think you got them under control, and then, so you have a relapse. So who knows? I don't know if that's what happened in this case. Nobody really knows the inside except those two guys. But, I'm saddened by it. And I wish that I wish those crazy kids could put it back together.
Yeah, well, they got two kids. I think one is 14. I think the other one is like 12 or 11 or something like that. So anyway, yes, Thoughts and prayers going out to Keith and Nicole. All right, very good. Anything else going on, Brian? We got about 35, 40 seconds left.
Readers, I see that the city of Nashville can't make up its mind about this really effective
they've
tool.
made up their mind. They're a bunch of idiots in Nashville. They're basically, you know what they're doing, Brian, with license plate readers? The mayor, O'Connell, and the Metro City Council, they're pointing fingers at each other, trying to obfuscate the fact that nobody in Nashville really wants license plate readers, knowing full well that in Wilson County, they are working like crazy.
They're like crazy they work. But listen to this one line that I found in a WKRN story. It quotes Metro Council member Jenny Welch, District 16. I am truly scared, and I've had so many members of the trans community reaching out to me, begging me to vote against the cameras.
The trans community?
Yeah, apparently.
Pretty sure that's not the transportation community.
I am pretty sure it's not that at all.
Why the trans? Why in particular the trans community?
That tells you something about what's driving the motivation. You know, it is a tool that has been proven to absolutely drive down crime.
Do you know what I don't understand?
Why would you not want to be for that? I mean, you say, well, it's cameras spying on. There is no expectation of privacy on a public street.
Supreme Court.
Just isn't.
Supreme Court. You know what I don't understand, though, Brian? So I'm trying to understand the thinking. So Jenny Welch says members of the trans community are really concerned. Yet, on the other hand, the Democrats will tell you any opportunity they get that members of the trans community are always victims of crime. So you would think that if they wanted to protect the trans community, they would vote for the license plate readers because that will cut down on crime.
The police want it. Members of the council have gotten all up in arms about this whole thing. I don't think it's going to happen, but it should, because if you look at what's going on in Mount Juliet, if you look what's going on in Wilson County, you look at what's going on in Laverne, you look at all the communities that surround Davidson County, it is being used effectively and without a negative repercussion. The only thing that's good is you take criminals off the street.
Exactly.
Well, how can that be a bad thing? I just don't understand it.
All right.
Very quickly, let me just say we got our big mile-long yard sale here in Watertown this weekend.
Wait, what are you doing?
Big deal. Saturday, starting at 7 o'clock, the mile-long yard sale. We do it twice a year. It's going to be a big one. We're going to do big things this time. We got music.
Okay.
We got a beer garden. We got all kinds of stuff.
All right. Now, are you going to be selling your inflatable with a hole in it?
No, I will not.
Okay.
And though at some point I may be selling some guitars, this is not the time. I'm still conflicted about that.
Okay. Well, very good. Now, will you sign the guitars? Does that destroy the value?
I don't know. Probably would hurt the value instead of improve the value.
All right. Thank you, Brian. Well, by the way, Brian is filling in.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, Brian is filling in for me Friday and Monday.
Friday and Monday, I'll be 5 a.m. I haven't done that in a while.
All right, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Trust me, Brian, you'll enjoy it, and everyone else will as well. All right, thank you, Brian. We'll talk soon. 727, brought to you by the Wellness Institute of Nashville, Mark Spain Real Estate. Skip the hassles of a traditional home sale and sell your home quickly with the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. No showings, no open houses, and no stress. Dan Mandis here. I always recommend Mark Spain Real Estate to my friends here in Nashville because I know they are going to sell your house hassle-free and with a strong all-cash offer. Now, Mark Spain Real Estate is the #1 most reviewed real estate company in America with over 13,000 five-star reviews. You can trust my friends to sell your home fast and for maximum value. They've been helping homeowners sell their homes for nearly 30 years, and they have served over 72,000 satisfied clients. Check them out online today. It is markspain.com, 855-299-SOLD. Go to markspain.com to get that guaranteed offer on your home today. 855-299-SOLD, markspain.com, and start packing. Dan Mandis here. The Wellness Institute of Nashville. By the way, News with Joan Jones is coming up. Wellness Institute of Nashville. Listen, you got $12. That is going to start you on your road to recovery. If you suffer from chronic back, neck, or knee pain, the Wellness Institute of Nashville can get you started. $12 gets you a comprehensive exam, x-rays if you need them, a well-explained diagnosis, and that first treatment. Again, all for just $12. Call them 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009. The website is painisbad.com. If you've got back or neck pain, sciatica, slipped or bulging spinal discs, herniated discs, spinal stenosis, numbness and weakness in the arms and legs or fingers and toes, they can help you with non-surgical spinal decompression. No surgery, no spinal injections, no painkillers. Find them online, painisbad.com. That's painisbad.com. 615-246-5009, the Wellness Institute of Nashville.
Good morning, now 7:32, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And the eastbound lanes of 24, they're still closed off this morning between Old Hickory Boulevard and Waldron Road for a very serious accident overnight. But there is some good news. The truck has been towed away, and there's a debris cleaning crew that's on the highway now working on that part of it. So it appears that we may be on target for an 8 a.m. opening of the lanes on 24 eastbound this morning. We'll keep an eye on it. In the news, we're in the midst of a partial government shutdown. It began, of course, at midnight after a vote on the Senate floor, which saw 3 Democrats cross the aisle and join Republicans to vote yes on a clean short-term funding bill. But ABC's Rick Klein says he knows why the remaining Democrats are holding out.
The Democrats recognize that for the sake of their own political survival, they cannot be seen as simply caving to Donald Trump. Donald Trump has had a historically successful, by any objective measure, enactment of his agenda over the last 8 months or so. But that has also fueled some of the backlash. And Democrats now face pressures from their own base that are unlike anything we've ever seen.
And Republicans aren't making it easy on the Democrats. House Speaker Mike Johnson warning Republicans to remain unified and to avoid avoid political events like fundraisers. Also, he says, stay out of D.C. until the House is due to return next week. To Memphis, where several federal agencies are already at work on a so-called Memphis Safe Task Force. 9 arrests made yesterday, among them 2 men now facing felony drug and weapons charges. They were pulled over by Homeland Security agents for running a red light. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 734, Nashville's Morning News. And want to tell you about my friends at Low T Center and Synergen X. Now, they've been changing the lives of men across the country for over a decade. And with these folks, it is not just talk. It is true. Now, what do? They help guys. If you've been thinking about testosterone, or maybe if you've noticed that as you get older, you're more tired, you're not motivated to do anything. It's not just aging. It is a physical and mental change to your body. And testosterone from Low T Center and Synergen X can actually help you, like they've helping men all across the country, do better at work, love, and the gym as well. Synergen X and Low T Center, they have clinics conveniently located all around town. You have the power to choose if you want to be treated in the clinic or if you want to receive at-home treatment. Either way, it all starts with a quick test at the center. So what are you waiting for? Guys, just imagine how much better your life is going to be and how much better you'll feel when you take back your health, restore your energy, and get on with the rest of your life. Book your appointment right now at fixmylowt.com. That is fixmylowt.com. You'll be wishing that you did it sooner. .738, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, so last hour, Joan, we played a debate going on between Josh Hawley and some numbnuts from the Biden administration, guy by the name of Gregory Jackson Jr., and they're in some sort of a heated debate. Just to set this up, they're in some sort of a heated debate about defunding the police. Because this guy, Gregory Jackson Jr., was saying, oh, no, I'm not for defunding the police, when in reality, they had come out with a paper, his organization, and they're within the with the Biden administration, they'd come out with a paper, a report that specifically said that they supported defunding the police. But things got really interesting when Holly points out you're for defunding the police, but you want to pay for people that are two-spirit in the crime reduction playbook, which caused a lot of headlines and caused a lot of headaches with Josh Hawley. But let's hear how that went.
Comprehensive approach is defunding the police, which is what this says.
The entire time.
This is so typical of what the Democrats do now. After your policies have transparently failed and led to the deaths of millions of Americans, now you say you've never heard of defunding the police. Your own report recommends it on page after page after page. Let me ask about something else you say. Here's what you say we ought to invest in. Instead of funding the police, here's what we ought to invest in. We need to invest in programs that acknowledge the need for safe space initiatives led by lesbian, gay, bisexual, two-spirit, trans, and gender nonconforming people.
Okay, before I continue it, as this was happening, Hawley's assistant is bringing out a giant cardboard cutout printout of the statement that was just read so that everybody can see that he's not making it up.
Oh, I love that.
What's two-spirit?
Well, look, I don't know exactly. You guys are pulling some interesting quotes.
This is from your report.
If you look at the report, the focus is on investing in violence intervention, outreach workers.
What is you say that you shouldn't invest in the police, but we ought to invest in two-spirit community programs that acknowledge two-spirit individuals.
We are not going to discriminate
what is that?
We're not going to discriminate against any nonprofit that
what
wants
is
to help us prevent violence in
What
our
is
community.
two-spirit? You say don't fund the police, but do fund programs that create safe spaces for two-spirit people. What is? I just want to know. I don't know what that is. I have no idea what that is.
Well, I honestly, I'm not completely aware of the language or
you
the
wrote the
spirit of how that was
report.
written.
That's
what
so
I'm telling
funny.
you is that what is
a two-spirit individual? I mean, really, this is your policymaker's playbook. You are the witness called by the Democrats on this committee, so I assume you reflect their views. Well, you don't want to fund the police. You want to fund safe spaces for two-spirit individuals. What is a two-spirit person?
What is a two-spirit person, Dan?
So a two-spirit person, we looked this up, is, what was it? Somebody who identifies as both a man and a woman? Basically.
And it comes from typically North American native tribes.
Oh, yes. So North American native tribes who identify as both a man and a woman.
Or they don't identify as anything.
Or they don't identify. So Joan, what is in a safe space for a two-spirit person? Like, what do you put in there? Like, you have to put in things for both men and women, right?
I think this...
You can't have, like, makeup in there.
Right.
You can't have anything manly, so you can't have any remote controls.
Unicorn stuffed animals.
Unicorn stuffed animals. There you go.
I think that's it.
I was just going to say, I think the room is padded. I think that's the safe space.
Yeah.
That's what they need. They need padding in there. Absolutely.
Which,
and some psychologists.
Not to be the North American natives who believe in the two-spirit, not to be confused with the South American natives that believe in sacrificing babies for rainwater.
I got nothing on that. Joan, you got anything on that?
Nothing.
Okay, good.
Squat.
All right, very good. Anyway, I love how I don't even know what the purpose of that testimony was for with this Gregory Jackson Jr. But you know that Holly was just trying to make this guy look as dumb as possible, and that really wasn't all that hard. As a matter of fact,
you should not go into any kind of hearing with your words or something that you co-authored and then say, I don't know.
Yes, true. By the way, some very strong reactions to Brian and I talking about the possible divorce of Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban. So on the one hand, you had one or two people saying, why are you spending so much time talking about this? And then you have other people that are chiming in and saying, oh, yeah, couldn't believe it. You were saying very quickly, Sam, that you watched their wedding on TV?
Yeah, I was a kid when they got married, and they did it live from Australia. I think it was CMT. And so I was sitting at home. I think it was like a Saturday, and I'm watching it. The first album I ever owned was Rise Up by Keith Urban.
Yep.
And big fan of his. So it does hurt me. I did not know about the prenup agreement, which is interesting that you brought that up. In case you didn't know, they used to call him Cocaine Keith. He once blew through $300,000 worth in a weekend.
Oh,
it's a heck of a weekend.
Wow.
Yeah, in the late 90s when $300,000 was a lot of money.
And John Lennon thought he had a lost weekend. He's got nothing on Keith Urban. All right, moving right along. 7:45, got to check the roads on WTN. All right, as far as your weather goes, it's going to be a nice day, partly sunny, warm, high of 86. Feeling like 89 on a shutdown Wednesday. My audio up? On a shutdown Wednesday. Let's try one more time. Really? My audio's not going to work now? Okay, let's see.
I swear, it's on in here.
Okay.
It's the Gremlins.
Is it
Again.
the Gremlins?
Yeah.
It's the anti-fun Gremlins.
No,
you know what?
I
A
think it's
working computer was not in the budget for the 7 o'clock hour.
I think it's the two spirits.
Is it the two spirits?
Yeah.
Can one of these two spirits fix the computer so that my audio works? Well, let's hope this works. This is John Kennedy, of course, the senator, talking about the shutdown on Newsmax. Okay, so what is going on with my computer? How is nothing working now? Seriously, this is a problem. I mean, it's not a problem, but I mean, it's a problem because is nothing working?
Can we go to a break until you figure it out? No? Okay.
I mean, I got 5 minutes to the break. I don't know what Sam has done to
Sam,
break
what'd
the
you do?
computer.
I have done nothing. I have done nothing to contribute to this whatsoever. Dan, I am so sorry that it's not working. I don't
No, it's
have an
fine.
explanation.
I don't know why it's because literally it was just working like 2 minutes ago. It was working and now it's not. And
I think Joan was praying for you not being able to hit the sounder for
me. Yeah, totally me.
No, but here's the deal: is that everybody uses audio, and so if it's not working, then it's going to be a problem for everyone. One of the things, though, just real quick, if you Google, because this is part of what I experienced, if you Google benefits for illegal aliens, do illegal aliens get medical benefits? Oftentimes it'll say no on the federal level, yes, depending on the state. But you know what the Biden administration did? What the Biden administration did is they let, of course, all of these illegal aliens into our country. And so then what they did was they essentially kind of sort of made them legal. They said that they were legally here. And if you say that they are legally here when they're not really legally here, but if you deem them, which is what the Biden administration did, they deemed them legally here, well, then all of a sudden that unlocks all of these benefits that the American people are paying for. And so part of what, and we talked to Haggerty yesterday, and of course we've been talking to Scott Desjardins, I've spoken to all these people. And basically what they'll tell you is that what we're trying to do is we are trying to eliminate the waste, fraud, and abuse, and all of these illegal aliens. They're getting these medical benefits, and frankly, they don't deserve them. And just because Biden changed their designation from illegal to legal, even though they weren't, we're talking about all of remember the parole, the mass parole, where Biden would fly these people in from other countries and he wouldn't tell anybody. Technically, and I'm saying technically, they are legal because Biden allowed them into our country, or the massive catch and release. Once you deem them legal, then that opens the door and unlocks all of those benefits. That's just part of what the Republicans are trying to stop. So the Republicans want to cut medical benefits to the illegal aliens. They want to stop the waste, fraud, and abuse in Medicaid. And Republicans want to eliminate the subsidies that taxpayers are paying for Obamacare. Now, that's another question that does relate, in my opinion, to waste, fraud, and abuse, among other things. Why should all Americans subsidize Obamacare? As we've talked about, it is really expensive. Wouldn't it make more sense? Here's my question. Wouldn't it make more sense to fix Obamacare and try to make it cheaper all the way around rather than all Americans subsidizing some of those who are on it and subsidizing people who are technically here, I mean, depending on how you categorize it and who you ask, but people who are here that were deemed legal by Joe Biden, but really by all accounts, they are illegal. So that's part of the conversation as well. So we'll continue to cover that and a whole lot more. The Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. Joan, what is coming up in the news at 8?
Well, we're going to take a look at the roadways again. It looks like things may be clearing up on 24 West, make that eastbound. I'm going to check on it. Yes, it looks like it is open. Isn't that great news? 24 eastbound now open past Old Hickory Boulevard. They finally cleaned up an accident. Got that and more coming up here at 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$7.50 on Super Talk 99.7, the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Got to tell you, these folks helped me when I was in a lot of pain. And they can help you as well. And you can get started for just $12. $12 is going to get you a comprehensive exam, x-rays if you need them, a well-explained diagnosis, and that first treatment. Again, $12 is going to get you started. They're calling that the Big Daddy Trump special, as a matter of fact. So if you've got back or neck pain, sciatica, slipped or bulging spinal discs, herniated discs, spinal stenosis, numbness or weakness in the arms and legs, fingers or toes, the Wellness Institute of Nashville can help you with their state-of-the-art non-surgical spinal decompression therapy. We're talking about no surgery, no spinal injections, and no painkillers. $12 get you started. Call them, tell them Dan told you to reach out. 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009, painisbad.com. 7:54, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You know what's amazing, Sam?
What,
Sam, you know
Dan?
what's amazing? I had no idea how computerly proficient Joan is. Because somehow she hacked into my computer and turned the little thingy down on the lower left-hand side where it says volume, and she figured out how to exit so that the volume doesn't work on my computer. I don't know how she did that. I didn't know you could be so sinister,
I
Joan.
hired the little gremlins. I even told you how I did it. I said gremlins.
That's exactly right. I don't know
They
what
work at
happened.
my
It is-
command.
it is so anyway. Whatever.
I thought it was a Russian spy.
So this is Senator John Kennedy talking about the shutdown. Oh, for the love of all that is holy. Are you kidding me, or did you not have it up on your end?
That was me.
Come on, dude. We've been working on this for like minutes.
You know, everything happens for a reason, but sometimes the reason is you're stupid and you made a bad decision.
Now that's not me talking about my audio. That's Kennedy talking about the Democrats and Chuck Schumer.
And my Democratic colleagues have made a very, very bad decision here. I knew they were going to do this 2 weeks ago when they listed their demands. They're demanding, for example, that we not check people on Medicaid for eligibility by income. Just let anybody sign up who wants to sign up. They're demanding that we give free health care to foreign nationals who are in our country illegally. They're demanding that taxpayers pay for sex change operations. If you list all of their demands and add them up, it's between 1.2 and 1.5 trillion dollars.
I mean, that is insane. And here's the point, is that Republicans just want to continue the current funding, which is, by the way, Joe Biden's funding and the Democrats' funding, for another 7 weeks. And so I gotta talk about how Schumer, he was just on CNN, and he is all about, this is the Republicans. No, man, it's not. Republicans don't want to shut down the government. All the Republicans want to do is continue negotiating for another 7 weeks. I mean, think of it this way. Most Americans hate the fact that we have free medical benefits for illegal aliens and these tax subsidies for working Americans who are poor and can't afford Obamacare. So what we need to do is take away all of that money going to the illegal aliens, clean that up, and then you've got more money for American citizens. Apply that money that we're giving to all of these illegal aliens and apply that money for those who are actually citizens, and the cost is going to go down. Now, I'm simplifying it, but it seems to me that what you need to do is you need to help the people that are citizens first. Cut and gut the waste, fraud, and abuse. You streamline it, and suddenly the cost is going to go down for American citizens.
Now, they know it's an unserious proposal. They know we're not going to accept it. That tells me that this decision to shut down government is not based on policy, Rob. It's based on politics. And here's the politics. The loon wing, the socialist wing of the Democratic Party,
That'd be the two spirits,
does not like Senator Schumer. And he wants them to like him. He wants them to love him. They have asked that government be shut down, and Senator Schumer has agreed. But once you shut down government, you've got to figure out how to get it back open. A wise person once said, if you pray for rain, you got to be prepared to deal with the mud.
Yep.
And I don't know how they're going to deal with the mud, because we will never, ever agree to this list of demands. You know,
I love how he talks about mud, Joan, because you know what mud is, spelled backwards. It's dumb.
Dumb.
Which is Chuck Schumer and the Democrats. That's pretty
Well
good,
done.
I think, wasn't it?
Yeah,
wasn't that pretty
I
good?
like that one.
For all
Yeah.
the technical issues, well, of course, we're missing a B, but whatever. That B is actually the resting B face of Maxine Waters. Thank you very
Nice.
much. New York Times poll shows that 65% of the American people say that Democrats should not shut down the government. even if their demands are not met. But by a vote of 47 to 43%, Democrats say that the party should vote to shut down the government. So in other words, you've got a whole bunch of Democrats saying that the government should not be shut down, even if their demands are not met. But then you have the Democrats there in Washington, D.C., who are saying, shut it down, shut it down. And they know, and by the way, other polling shows that Republicans are going to shoulder some of the blame, but ultimately it is the Democrats that will suffer, because I do believe that the Republicans have done a really good job of pinning this on the Democrats. And it's easy because it is the Democrats who are literally voting to shut down the government. It is 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It is 8 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And yes, 24 eastbound lanes now reopened at Old Hickory Boulevard South, where there had been an accident. 2 o'clock this morning, it had been closed down all morning long. Again, eastbound 24 is reopened, but you're still going to find massive delays in that area. In the news, and its first day on the job, the Memphis Safe Task Force posted 9 arrests and the seizure of 2 weapons. Several television stations in Memphis reporting that residents there did not see troops or notice additional law enforcement yesterday. Meantime, Attorney General Pam Bondi on Fox News laying the blame for the city's high crime rate on the county prosecutor.
You have a woke Soros DA there. They're letting people out. They're not holding them accountable. So we're coming in with all of our federal agents, and we're going to charge them federally whenever possible.
Bondi, along with War Secretary Pete Hegseth, will be on the ground in Memphis today. The federal government is partially shut down, began at midnight after the Senate failed to pass a continuing resolution. So how does that play out? Well, TSA and air traffic controllers are working today without pay. So are military members. And we've learned that national parks, including Great Smoky Mountains National Park, won't open the visitor centers today. Channel 4's Holly Thompson says that'll result in the loss of some income.
They're expected to miss out on, they say, up to $40,000 a day in sales. That money's also used to pay for educational programs and services to help tourists.
At national parks, the bathrooms won't be cleaned, the trash won't be picked up. However, the roads and the trails in the parks will remain open. And we're learning that Senate Republicans will go back to the well on this issue today.
2 Democratic senators and 1 independent broke ranks to support the GOP proposal to keep the government funded. Senate Republicans say they plan to bring that bill back to the floor today, but Democrats say they are holding firm. So the big question now, how do lawmakers get out of this shutdown? Exactly who caves? And just how long will it last? The last one was 35 days.
ABC's Rachel Scott. After months of feuding with Harvard, the Trump administration now says it's close to reaching a deal with the university that could also address the nation's shortage of blue-collar workers.
As part of the settlement, Harvard would reportedly pay $500 million while agreeing to operate trade schools in return for getting its federal grants restored. The tentative deal comes as the CEO of Ford, Jim Farley, warns the U.S. is far behind rivals like China and Japan in the blue-collar industry, making the U.S. less competitive.
That's ABC's Morgan Norwood. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. We're looking at futures this morning in the minus column. The Dow futures down 121, NASDAQ futures losing 117, S&P futures down 27. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Okay, so they've opened up the eastbound lanes of 24 at Old Hickory Boulevard South, where that traffic accident has been all night long. The right shoulder is blocked off by it. People are still taking a look at the other side as well. So east and westbound at Old Hickory Boulevard on 24, very slow again this morning. Kingston Springs, 40 eastbound. There's a crash in the left shoulder past Kingston Springs Ashland City exit. And then 40 westbound at the Wilson-Davidson County line. There's an accident. Antioch, Murfreesboro Pike, north of Mount View Road. Watch for an accident there, too. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.807 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super text line is open 615-737-9986. 615-737 WWTN. Joan, I heard you talking about that. I heard you talking about that trade school story with Harvard.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness gracious. I love that story for so many different reasons.
Not something you'd expect at Harvard now, would you?
Well, they're being forced into it. I mean, Trump is forcing them to, I guess, run these trade schools. The whole point is that we need the trades to continue to try to, continue with our journey towards AI and being AI dominant for the world, right? Trump wants us to be the dominant AI country in the world. We need people to be able to do that. That's where the trade comes in. The trade schools come in. And President Trump says, listen, Harvard, if you want all that money back, then you've got to start running these trade schools. I think it's kind of funny because, of course, Harvard, let's be honest, Harvard is pretty uppity. And so I can imagine that they're like, you want us to do what? You want us to teach people how to, fix engines and do all of these other things? And Trump is like, yeah, because we need tradespeople. And I think that it's great. I had not heard this story until actually early this morning. This was President Trump yesterday talking about this.
You mentioned a deal with Harvard, Mr. President. What is that deal? Will they be paying the administration?
Well, we're in the process of getting very close, and Linda's finishing up the final details, and they'd be paying about $500 million, and they'll be operating trade schools. They're going to be teaching people how to do AI and lots of other things, engines, lots of things. We need people in trade schools. I remember when I went to school, I had some people that weren't particularly good students.
You mentioned.
I mean, he's right. How many people, I know several, who barely graduated high school, right? Barely graduated high school. Or maybe didn't. But they picked up a trade and those people are making six figures. And then how many people do you know that went to a, is it unfair of me to call Harvard uppity? Like you think of Harvard, you think uppity, don't you?
I think hoity-toity.
Hoity-toity. I believe that Harvard is hoity-toity. I like uppity too, though, uppity too. But I like that Trump is basically saying, no, you want this money back, then you are going to help us get trade schools going across the country. $500 million deal. And personally, I think this is great. I think this is outstanding for so many different reasons. Now, one of the things that I would like to see the president do, I would like to see the president also, and I this may vary depending on state, but I know a guy, and I've talked about this before, who did not graduate high school, and he is an outstanding welder. But he can't get certified because he doesn't have a high school diploma. And he's trying to get a GED, but he's having a hard time. He's a really good welder. He's been doing it since he was like 12 or 13 years old. But because he doesn't have a GED, he can't get certified. And he could literally double his income if they would remove that GED requirement to allow people to get certified.
Yeah.
Now, I would love to see that because I think my friend, I love him, but books and that kind of thing are not his strong suit.
No, my great-grandfather, one of the things that my grandfather prides himself on, dropped out of school in 8th grade.
Yeah.
And had to work on the farm to help feed the family.
Yes.
And then went and worked for the Ohio Drilling Company and worked his way up into the company to afford to be able to get married and have his own family with my grandfather. And he prided himself on the idea, the same thing that Charlie stood for in being an autodidact is, you know what? I can teach myself anything if I put the time and the patience in to do it.
Well, that's exactly right. And there's so many people that are self-taught. There's so many people that had to drop out of school for whatever reason. And for some folks, it's because of family reasons where they had to try to help, raise their brothers and sisters after a parent dies. Or it might just be because they weren't real smart. Maybe it was because, honestly, they were drinking and partying too much. And then they get to the age of like 24, 25, and it's like, oh, crap. What do you mean I need a high school diploma? So, I've said this before, where I just think that if you allow tradespeople to just be tradespeople and they don't need a high school diploma to get certified, I think that would be the smart thing to do. I don't know if any lawmakers are willing to take that on. I've also seen conflicting stories as far as whether or not people need a GED or a high school education to get certified. Maybe it depends on the trade, because some people have said, well, no, if you're a welder, you actually, if you go through the union or something, you don't need to have that high school diploma. I don't know.
And maybe state to state, to your point, maybe a union
thing.
State
to state, union thing, whole thing. So, but if they need welders, then they ought to take away that requirement to that you need a high school diploma. President Trump continued talking about this.
You mentioned a deal with Harvard, Mr. President. What is that deal? Will they be paying the administration?
Well, we're in the process of getting very close, and Linda's finishing up the final details, and they'd be paying about $500 million, and they'll be operating trade schools. They're going to be teaching people how to do AI and lots of other things, engines, lots of things. We need people in trade schools. I remember when I went to school, I had some people that weren't particularly good students, but they could take a motor or an engine apart blindfolded and put it back blindfolded, but they weren't too good at other things.
Yeah, see? Everybody's got their strength. Everybody's got their strength.
Their God-given talent.
Their God-given talent, Joan. That's right.
Yeah.
And if they've been doing this stuff, the thing is, there's people that, as Donald Trump just said, that if they've been taking cars apart since they were knee-high to a grasshopper, then why not just allow them to do that? Because, there's people with high school diplomas or even certifications in college that are not very good at fixing cars and so forth. So, I think that it would be fair if they took away that. I'm a little distracted because what is going on? 100,000?
Apparently yesterday, 100,000 federal employees quit.
Well, that makes it easy.
Yeah.
Do we say thank you?
I guess.
From what agency? Joan, do we have that? Have you been talking about that?
It's
I saw a headline.
Yeah, so it's that 100,000 of the people who took their buyouts. I think the buyouts ended yesterday.
The buyouts ended yesterday.
Yeah, the planned 100,000 resignations comes as part of this program known as the Deferred Resignation Program.
Okay.
Many U.S. workers cling to their paychecks. Federal employees in the thousands are willfully walking out the door. Today, meaning yesterday, this is in Fortune magazine, America will experience its largest mass resignation in history. The result of the Trump administration's fork in the road deferred resignation program that staffers have taken up over previous months. They were allowed to transfer their workload and go on administrative leave until the official end date of their federal service, and that was yesterday.
All right, there you go.
Yeah.
100,000. And, as we've been talking about, Trump and the Republicans are like, listen, if you're going to, which they have, if you're going to shut down the government, well, then we just going to take that opportunity then to thin the government as well. By the way, people are reacting. Should we, I know we did this before, But let's do a Daily Dan poll real quick on YouTube. Would you be for eliminating the high school diploma as certification for welding or whatever, for trades? Because some people are saying, "Oh no, why would you lower the standards?" So and that's a fair point. You know, you don't want to lower the standards, but I also think that if we have a situation in America where we don't have as many tradespeople as we clearly need, which is why Trump is doing what he's doing with Harvard, then maybe you just use a little common sense. And by the way, there's a whole bunch of people coming in here illegally that they're taking those jobs that Americans aren't able to get because I guarantee you those people aren't certified. So I think we need to make it easier for Americans to be able to get that certification. And I don't know, Joan, do you think it matters, yes or no? If somebody, because people are arguing with me on the Super Talk, which is fine, Super Text, which is fine. But I don't think it's necessarily lowering the standards of a person who can weld or a person who is really good at being an auto mechanic. Either you can pass the certification test or you can't, regardless as to whether or not you have a high school diploma or not. So I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong on this, but to go take the poll on YouTube.
Don't you think it's worth it? You want to see people have to work for what they're going to do, what they get. I mean, I think it's okay to require a GED. Like, it doesn't have to be you finish high school, but do your GED, get that, and then move on to the next step and the next step. I think it's okay to work toward a goal.
I think it just depends on how far away somebody is on that GED. For example, if somebody dropped out in the 7th grade, you're not going to be able to pass the GED.
Right.
You're just not. But if you can weld like nobody's business, if you can fix a car like nobody's business, or whatever other electrician, but if they know how to do that stuff and they can get the technical certification, then I think that you do that. And by the way, what you're doing then, if you allow those people to do that, then they're going to get that certification. They're going to get more money. And then guess what happens? You're churning the economy. Then you're expanding your tax base. So I think it's a no-lose situation.
I'll do you one better. I think it's got to be, industry to industry. It needs, you need to kind of look at it from that perspective. Because when it comes to mechanics, there's a lot of words, there's a lot of things that, technically speaking, you want to have an understanding on, so you don't cause problems, cause injuries, something like that.
Right.
However, this is what we used to do, is we used to have academy programs in high schools where you had shop, you had woodwork, you had metal, and all these things that you could do. Some of the bigger county high schools out in Tennessee still have mechanics and stuff like that. But you could essentially graduate with your high school diploma and a certification ready to enter the workforce and start working in whatever industry of an academy program that you chose.
Do they not do that anymore?
No, they don't. They took that away and they swapped it out for everyone should go to college. Everyone should try to get into Harvard and Yale and all that stuff.
Yeah. That's a big mistake. And I think that's why Trump, did we do traffic?
We did not do traffic.
Let's do traffic real quick on WTN. Very good. As far as your weather goes, today partly sunny and warm, high of 86, feeling like 89. Thanks for listening to Super Talk 99.7.
The other thing I would add to that is that it teaches specifically, if you want strong, mature young men at an earlier age, for the guys out there, it's going to, working with your hands teaches you life lessons early on. And then you're not some derelict, frat boy who's on year 7 trying to graduate from some SEC school. If anyone's offended by that, that's on you.
Well, yeah, my 2 cents is I think that if you want to expand the tax base, if you want to improve people's lives, and you want to give people an opportunity, then take away that high school graduation requirement and just let people be. You know what I mean? Now, some people are saying, and okay, fine. Some people are saying, well, this is how you sift, like sifting the sand. This is how you figure out what separates the men from the boys. And if somebody has a little grit to them, I understand that. But if you dropped out of high school or dropped out of junior high, 6th, 7th, 8th grade for whatever reason, it's going to take them a long time to be able to pass that GED. And it's also, there's some expense to it as well. So I think maybe, I don't want to say a case-by-case basis, but as you said, maybe an industry-by-industry basis. What are people saying on the super text line? Or not the super text line, but the Daily Dan poll. You've got it up. What are people saying?
We're going 71% saying yes, they would be for removing the diploma and GED for certifications. And again, to get into the specifics, I think it needs, as you agreed, industry to industry.
Here's more from Trump.
Many of them ended up doing better than the people that were. So by opening up trade school, because we're going to need employees, we're going to need people with skill. And I think I can say, Linda, you feel the same way. By opening up trade school, this would be a giant trade school, series of trade schools. It would be run by Harvard. Now, this is something that we're close to finalizing. We haven't done it yet. But they'd put up $500 million. Interest and everything else would go to that account, meaning go to the trade school. And, it's a big investment in trade school, done by very smart people. And then their sins are forgiven. So we have a good chance of getting that close. Yeah.
That's a total Trump move, by the way. That was Trump's idea. So if they want the $500 million back, then they're going to have to open up a bunch of trade schools and help America get the people certified and educated on whether it's AI or, other things related to AI or things that are mechanical engineering in nature that you can do through some of these trade schools and certifications, then have Harvard help us out. And I don't know if trade schools are in abundance, aren't they? I don't know. I mean, trade schools, I know that here in Tennessee, certainly we have trade schools all over the place because we have the Tennessee Promise. But I mean, trade schools, there's a lot of them around. Yeah. We're not lacking in trade schools.
No, we need more in certain parts of the country, but there are some larger organizations that have kind of branched out into multi-state trade schools. And we need to bring back apprenticeships.
Oh, absolutely.
It needs to be a thing again.
There's a lot of things that we need to do. And if you want to improve the American economy, then my opinion, this is exactly what you need to do. It is 8:23 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. Joan Jones has the news coming up at 8:30. Joan.
So did Democrats demand health care for illegal aliens? We're going to explore both sides of that issue.
Wait, what was that? What did you say?
Did Democrats demand health care, free health care for illegal aliens?
Oh, got it. Okay.
In this bill, in this continuing resolution. Mm-hmm. So we'll tell you, both sides are staking new claims this morning. We've got both sides for you coming up here at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm sorry. Joan, are you seeing this on CNN?
What?
I mean, you're probably on Fox, but CNN just broke in. Part of New York City high-rise collapses after explosion.
Oh.
Breaking news. It just
Hang on, okay, I'm going to go check on it.
Just this second came up. So if you want to, and that's why I'm all interested in what is going on. That's all I know about it. Wanted to make sure you had it. We'll give you more updates on that as the situation becomes more clear. 8:24, Dan Mandis here for Window Nation. Whether you have old, drafty windows, maybe cheap builder-grade windows, right now is the best time to replace your windows with my friends at Window Nation. Now, you can protect your home ahead of the fall and winter weather. It's going to get colder. You need to get replacement windows from my friends at Window Nation. Right now, you buy 2 windows, you get 2 windows free. Call them right now, plus no interest or payments for 2 years. It's one of many reasons why I love Window Nation. Every single month, they give you a great deal. An A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. And your new windows can be installed in a day or less. And listen to this. I've got 4 of these windows in my home, 2 in my downstairs basement studio. 96% customer satisfaction rating, including yours truly. Window Nation, they've got over 45,000 5-star reviews. Now, that is huge. Don't forget the huge deal going on right now with Window Nation. If you're thinking about getting new windows, if you're thinking about upgrading your windows, Call my friends at Window Nation right now. Buy 2 windows, get 2 windows free, and you also have no payments for 2 years. No interest, no payments for 2 years with my friends at Window Nation. 866-90-NATION is the phone number. 866-90-NATION, windownation.com.
Good morning. It's now 8:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. The federal government shut down at midnight. A lot of federal workers staying home today. The blame game has begun, too. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries telling Good Morning America that Democrats really aren't trying to give illegal immigrants free health care.
2 Democratic senators and 1 independent broke ranks to support the GOP proposal to keep the government funded. Senate Republicans
Oh, man, that is not the soundbite that I had hoped that it would be. Well, anyway, the Vice President, J.D. Vance, says, however, it's simply not true. And he's got the evidence proving that he's right in this situation.
In their initial proposal, the first thing that they put out to reopen the government, they actually turned that money for health care benefits for illegal aliens back on. So it's not something that we made up. It's not a talking point.
Yeah, in the very original text, he says the Senate will vote today on that same bill that was rejected last night. They'll continue to vote on that today. Meantime, Punchbowl reporting that OMB Director Russ Vought has a 1 p.m. Eastern Time meeting with House Republicans to discuss slashing federal departments during the shutdown, permanent closure, and permanent firings for employees. And Dan mentioned this earlier, a gas explosion at an apartment building in the Bronx, causing that building to partially collapse. This happened about 8 o'clock this morning. The explosion collapsed the incinerator shaft. The apartments look like they're all okay, but of course that building's been evacuated. No injuries so far. They're using drones to go up and take a look at the damage now. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Stocks beginning to trade now, and we're in the red. The Dow Jones Industrial's down 36. NASDAQ down 93 right now. The S&P 500 index falling 21 points. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. Dan Mandis here at 8:33. And contours. I really like contours. A lot of people really like contours. Now, right now, if you want to experience one of their incredible belly buster specials, you call this phone number right now. You're going to get a huge discount. 615-236-9960. 615-236-9960. First 10 callers get that Belly Buster special for $99. Now, if you don't know what a Belly Buster special is, it is cutting edge, red light technology. It is unique, it is effective, and it's going to help you lose a couple of inches across the middle. Again, this is that red light technology. If you want to learn more about it, go to their website. It is contoursllc.com. That's contoursllc.com, and they're going to show you step by step how their Belly Buster special works. Call them right now if you want to get it for $99. It's a great deal. 615-236-9960. Taking advantage of their cutting-edge red light technology. It is unique. It is effective. Call them right now, 615-236-9960. Find them online anytime, contoursllc.com. All you've got to lose is inches.
Okay, lingering delays after that closure this morning on 24 eastbound. It's back open, but it's still very slow this morning on the eastbound side of 24 at the Waldron Road area. You also have some delays on 24 eastbound at Sam Ridley now. Drivers are reporting that there may be something in the median there. We'll check it out. We'll continue to check those cameras, see what's going on there. Walnut Hills 70 is southbound. That's Highway 70 southbound at Collis Jean Road. There's a crash. Nolensville Pike south of Bradford Hills, a crash. That one involves injuries. And Murfreesboro Pike 2 north of Mount View Road. Watch out. This is in Antioch. Watch out for a crash there as well. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.837, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. So this is Halloween. So earlier, Chris, just so you know, we were talking about Halloween movies, and because I woke up this morning and my lovely wife had put up. Do you do inflatables, Chris?
No, we do not.
Are you uppity on inflatables too, like Joan?
I'm not a fan.
Okay.
Bam.
So you're uppity on inflatables. You're anti-inflatable.
Anti-inflatable.
So I woke up this morning, and the lovely Amy had put up our Halloween inflatables, and I was very surprised, and it's almost becoming like it's a Halloween miracle, where I go to bed at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon because I'm like 90 years old and I work mornings.
Yes.
And I leave at 4 o'clock in the morning, and all the inflatables, all the Halloween inflatables are up, and then Joan Jones.
I popped his inflatable.
Popped my inflatable.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
She said...
Right on the air in front of everyone.
She said She said... This was her actual quote, Chris. Hurt my feelings. Inflatables are for white trash.
Oh, no.
That is exactly what Joan Jones said.
However, I didn't say that. And Chris, you know me well enough to know that I would not say that Dan is white trash.
I said that, and then Joan went, yep. Oh, it was a Joan cosign.
Yeah.
That almost makes it worse.
It actually does.
It almost makes it worse.
But they look really good, actually. And I like my inflatables. So then we started doing this whole thing. I didn't even get to all of the things. We started talking about top signs that you are indeed white trash.
Oh, no.
Like leaving your Christmas lights up all year round, outside.
Right.
That's one of them.
And then
we're asked to be salt and light, Joan.
Yep. Yeah, but not twinkly lights.
So then Sam says, do you have an above ground pool? Which I happen to, yes.
Yep.
But I've got really fancy,
decking
around it. So I might be white trash adjacent.
Hold on.
You're white trash removed.
Do you have mini blinds in the windows, and some of them are broken and bent back so that
No.
maybe they're adjusted, like ill-adjusted?
No,
No?
Absolutely not.
Okay, that's a sign.
No, I've got no, none of you have been to my house. I got a decent house. And the way you're going, you're never going to be invited, by the way.
Right.
So, so no, I don't have any of the other signs of white trashville.
Okay.
The only thing is the inflatables, which I actually like.
There's no car parts scattered across the front lawn.
No.
Then you're good.
No.
Bandit's not tied up to some tree in the yard.
I'd like to, but no. But then people are like, beer cans in the front yard is a true sign.
The pool in the front yard, that's a pretty big sign.
Joan did the pool in the front yard. I'm trying to think of what else. I can't think of what else.
That one cousin that's addicted to amphetamines.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got
Who doesn't have a cousin addicted to amphetamines in 2025?
goodness,
Well,
stop.
I don't because he died in 2024. Well, that's fair.
Yeah, so.
Way to take it dark, Sam.
Yeah.
We're having a fun conversation until Sam. Well, way to go, Sam. Anyway, so you're not a fan of the inflatables? You're anti-inflatable?
Yeah, I can't do it.
Why not? You too good?
Yeah, I feel like, I went to the Harvard School of Decorations.
It's ghetto.
Well, before affirmative action, though, right? Because Harvard did give Joy Reid a diploma.
Ghetto?
It's ghetto.
Oh, wow.
How about just tacky?
Judgy much?
Yeah.
Oh, you know, hey,
She's honest.
As long as she, admits it, that's all fine, well, and good then.
Do either of you have a couch on the front porch? Like an old, dusty...
I did it one time.
Yeah.
I did it one time, and when I was living in Richmond, we had a porch couch. We inherited it, and we didn't want to get rid of it.
Really?
Was it all guys living in this house?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect.
It was awesome.
Just perfect.
Hey, you guys want to do the epic troll of
Hakeem Hefe?
Hakeem Hefe? Yeah, Hakeem Jeffries. So yesterday we talked about how Trump, I didn't realize until the very end of the show, it was a big deal yesterday where Trump had posted this video of Hakeem Jeffries. He's got the sombrero on and the whole thing, and people made a big deal out of it. And so Donald Trump, of course, needs some video. Donald Trump, of course, doubling down where Hakeem Jeffries is on, I guess this is MSNBC.
It's a disgusting video, and we're going to continue to make clear bigotry will get you nowhere. We are fighting to protect the health care of the...
And there's a mariachi band in the background, and all the players are Trump. And you've got Hakeem Jeffries with that Mexican mustache. I don't know what you call it.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's funny as all get. And Trump is he is leaning right into it.
Yep.
I love it.
Well, people will blame Trump for it, but it was actually a Puerto Rican guy that made that meme.
All right, listen, Trump owns it, though. You know how
just
Trump
reposted it.
I love it.
So funny.
Well, listen, by the way, we're also talking about, just going back to the inflatables. Have you seen the video you probably have, of Maxine Waters and the big interview that she had on the Capitol steps?
Yes.
And when I was doing that in the 5 o'clock hour.
And she's saying the quiet parts out loud.
Well, yes, she is. But also, I started thinking about a Maxine Waters inflatable from my front yard for Halloween.
That would be so terrifying.
That would be amazing, wouldn't it?
You wouldn't get any trick-or-treaters. They'd say, not this house, son. I'm just so glad that sentence ended with the inflatable in my yard.
I don't get it. Why don't you explain that?
Yeah,
I don't get it.
No,
I'm having a slow day. Why don't
elaborate.
You elaborate.
I don't think you want him to.
Yeah, thank you, Joan.
So Hakeem Jeffries now he is now talking tough on Donald Trump. Have you heard this? So this is Hakeem Jeffries.
And Mr. President, the next time you have something to say about me, don't.
You know what I love?
I love the people in the background who are making it seem like it's like a hip hop battle from YouTube in the early 2000s. Like, ooh.
Well, the funny thing is, he's trying to act all tough, and he's like, wait, what the hell am I supposed to say next?
Don't
cop out
through a racist and fake AI video.
Yeah.
When I'm back in the Oval Office, say it to my face. Say it to my face.
This is one of the main reasons why the left has lost the youth vote. They can't have any fun. Nothing is fun ever. Nothing can be funny. Like, he should have laughed that off. But like, I saw it. The president's hilarious, and while he's trying to distract us with jokes, we're trying to get health care for Americans.
Right,
like, this is what you do.
You gotta do. He's so dumb.
So dumb.
And he can't get it out of what he wants to say. That's Hakeem Jeffries.
Gotta think.
I think he was trying to do the Obama cadence.
Yeah.
He keeps trying to do the Obama cadence, but it's not working.
Dollar Store Obama. Timu Obama. Buck Obama.
Buck Obama? Buck Obama.
Specifically,
Bucky.
Dollar Tree Obama. Ooh,
not Dollar
General.
I think he's 99 cent Obama. That's what I think.
Well, because of inflation.
Mm-hmm. By the way, when I hear Hakeem Jeffries speak, do you know what I hear?
So there it is again.
I heard the sound effect once, and I thought to myself, I'm stuck in traffic. How many times am I going to hear this sound effect? And the answer was not enough. I thought you could have.
I can fix that.
I thought you could have done it more.
You know what? You should have heard in the 5 o'clock hour, man. I was en fuego with my little sound
Were you?
effect. I was.
In fuego, does that mean on fire?
Yes, it
Okay.
does.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you're going to do racist memes, you better say it to Hakeem Jeffries' face.
That's exactly right. You know, the funny thing is, though, you're right. They're making this seem like this is, they've literally, okay, you know what? I would say to Hakeem Jeffries, okay, if you're going to call me a fascist, you come say it to my face.
Right?
Jackhole.
You were in the office. Why didn't you call
Why
me
didn't
Hitler?
you call me? Yeah, you know what? That's great. Why didn't you come and why didn't you call me a fascist to my face?
All the Dems always want to tour the ICE facilities. Why don't you tell the ICE agents that they're the Gestapo while you're there?
Oh, see, that's a great point. That is a great point. So I think, yeah, I don't know. I think they're going to lose on this one. I think the Democrats are going to lose on this one. I think that even though they're trying to pin this on Trump, polling shows that people are buying into the Schumer shutdown.
Yep.
Wait a minute. They're buying into the Schumer shutdown.
My favorite part about
Timing
that
is
is how
everything.
you wait
You
for
like
it to
that?
wind down. You wait for it to wind down.
I know, I'm so dumb.
Get him out. Throw him out into the coat.
What did you bring for
Don't give him
this?
that coat. No coat.
Well, TPUSA returned to Utah last night. This was their first event back in Utah. It was at Utah State University, and they had a wild crowd. 6,000 people showed up.
Did they
for this
really?
event, and it was awesome. But before the event could get started, there was a bomb threat.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Yep. It didn't deter the crowd. The crowd ended up going anyway, but the bomb squad had to show up, and they actually had to explode a suspicious package on the campus.
You sent this to me, and I can't. It's
just in your Twitter DMs.
I know, but I'm not. It hasn't downloaded.
Should have been about 11 minutes ago. It says update.
Stand by. Here we go.
There we go.
And what happened?
It exploded.
There you go.
That's the scene outside Utah State University before the TPUSA event. That's a significant amount of explosive.
So was there an actual bomb?
Listen, I don't know. But in my head, I'm like, wouldn't a bomb make a bomb explode more?
Well,
I'm not a bomb guy. I'm going to have full disclosure.
I think they like isolate it somehow.
Yeah, so they isolate it and do what's called a soft charge, at least the term that was given to me by my uncle who served 30 years in the military. And the soft charge is supposed to detonate whatever's underneath it. If it's a non-threat, you just hear a little bit of a and that's it. But if it's an actual bomb, you get that kind of a sound, which is significant because it echoes. So did you think, judging from the sound and your uncle's expertise?
Yes. He taught me how to...
would you say that was a real bomb?
Yeah, I would. I would argue that it just because it should be softer if it's not an actual.
Listen,
threat.
I heard. What did you say? Soft charge?
Yeah,
I heard soft charge, and I thought Tennessee Men's Clinic.
Dan. Seriously.
What? Listen, look at all these.
Men are going through it, Joan.
Yeah, it's a serious problem. Just ask the sales department.
Yeah, Joan.
Come on, man.
By the way, when I heard the soft charge, what? When I heard the soft charge, I did think about that conversation that they did have with resting B-face Maxine Waters.
Democrats want to prioritize the health care of illegal aliens
I have to see this
over
again.
a government shutdown, because if the government does shut down, American
Excuse
employees are going
me,
to be furloughed.
stop it right there. We're not prioritizing. What we're doing is saying simply we want to keep the government open, and we want to work with the Republicans and have a bipartisan agreement to keep this government open, and health care is at the top of our agenda.
Now, what's funny is, and this is, if you've seen the video, people, if you're watching on YouTube or whatever, I mean, she does. Maxine Waters looks like she belongs on somebody's front lawn as a Halloween decoration.
Yes, she looks more and more like a skeleton every day.
She does. And that resting Maxine Waters face, I mean, it's like redundant.
Democrats demanding health care for illegal aliens?
Democrats are demanding health care for everybody. We want to save lives.
What does she not understand about what she's saying? Everybody.
We want to save lives.
That's what she wants.
She's also just is a full exposure of how they don't want objective, honest journalism in their faces.
Oh, no, she got upset.
We want to make sure that health care is available to those who would die, but
would die.
People die every day.
Having the
people die at the hands of illegal aliens that come into our country for the free stuff.
help of their government.
Yeah, Joan. Say it again, Joan.
There you go, Dan.
I wanted to make sure I didn't step on the Joan applause because it doesn't happen ever.
We'll isolate it and clip it.
Could you?
So you're good with the government shutdown, even if it means giving health care to people who aren't American citizens?
Well, that's what you're pushing on. What you're trying to do is you're standing here and you're trying to make me say that somehow we're going to put non-citizens over Americans. Quit it.
Isn't everyone?
You already did. You don't have to say it.
Yeah.
We've watched.
But she says, quit it.
Stop it.
Stop it.
This is the kind of journalism we don't need.
Yeah, we don't need journalists actually asking honest questions.
How dare you?
How dare you?
You're divisive. No, you're not.
Yeah, no,
You're being divisive. No, please. You don't need to ask that question. You're just trying to get controversy here. You're not going to get it from me. We want to save health care for all people. Thank you.
Thank you, Congresswoman.
You're not going to get controversy from me. So a bit late, Congresswoman. I didn't know you could also sound like a mummy on top of looking like one.
I like the reporter that I don't know who that was, but she was very good. She was very tolerant of Maxine Waters with her waggy finger.
Well, what's the best thing you do, Joan, when you want people to comment? You just let them. You're silent and let them talk.
Yeah,
and that's 100%. What she did. I don't know who that is actually. You know who that is?
She thanked her. She walked away. I thought she was very professional.
You know what?
She was from Mike Lindell's TV network.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you'll notice, CNN, MSNBC, they're not asking Maxine Waters the serious questions like that.
Nope.
Because they know better.
No, to your point earlier, you said the most serious journalism MSNBC does is when they ask Pelosi about her net worth.
It's exactly right.
Listen, if you're making $200,000 a year and you put it in a good savings account with a good interest rate, you too can gain a $600 million net worth. Anybody can do it. I'm tired of you smearing Pelosi.
Yeah.
The good name.
That's all you got to do.
Of Nancy Pelosi.
Find a credit union. You too could turn that salary into $2 million.
How about you bitch? You make that deal? I'd make that deal. I don't blame you. Damn good deal.
Good deal.
Save your pennies. Instead of buying that cup of coffee every week.
That's it.
You put that, $8, $9 into a whatever.
I've never seen Pelosi with Starbucks. So, she tightens the purse strings.
By the way, when I think of soft charge. Hey, Chris, what's coming up at 9:05?
Well, we'll talk about the Turning Point event. We'll talk about the government shutdown. Jason Whitlock is going to be joining the show at 9:35 to break down the Super Bowl halftime controversy.
Nice.
And we'll also dive a little bit into drugs and how they're going to cost less.
Yes. I don't want to blow your tease, but bypassing the pharmaceuticals?
Yeah.
All cash?
Let's go.
Let's go. I'm going to go away. I think it probably should after 9. Joan, what do you got?
We're going to take a look at what's going on in Memphis today. This will be the day 2, maybe day 3 of troops on the ground there, trying to clean up the violent crime that's going on in Memphis.
So right there, Joan?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, good.
I had a Danurism. That's coming up at 9 o'clock.
That's a Joan-urism, young lady. I keep calling her young. Does it anger you as much?
I am young lady.
Okay.
Yeah, I am. It's coming up at 9 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.